He strolls up to the starter village, chill as can be, until bam. The interface completely loses its mind. Red glitches everywhere, error boxes screaming in his face. It accuses him of hacking the grind, flagging his growth as abnormal. Then comes the ultimate nerf. The system initiates a forced rollback on all 99 levels. Dude absolutely loses it. He's screaming into the void as 20 years of literal hell grinding dissolve in a heartbeat. Pure agony. The glitch storm finally clears. Shaking, he pops his status window for the damage report. Wait, what his stats are broken. 99 across the board. Strength maxed, agility maxed. Only luck sucks. The only thing that tanked is his actual level number, back to 1. Sure, his high-tier skills are grayed out and his legendary gear is level locked. But does he look worried? Not even a little. With base stats like a raid boss, re-leveling is going to be a joke. He takes the W, pulls up the map, and locks in his target. Destination Urkus, the noob village. But hold up, how did he hit the level cap before even starting the tutorial? Rewind 20 years. He's just a tiny adventurer wannabe wandering the academy grounds when yoink. Some psycho old geezer snatches him up, literally kidnapped. The old man took one look at the kid's potential, called him a prodigy, and dragged him off into the shadows. This power-hungry maniac viewed the boy as a lab rat, a personal passion project. No breaks, no childhood, just pain. Day after day of soul-destroying drills. Picture this, the kid doing push-ups in the dirt while the master literally sits on his spine. It's endless abuse mixed with lectures on min-maxing stats. Then, during one of these torture sessions, the kid speaks up. Our protagonist Han dares to mention that the world's #1 ranked player is currently level 89. The old man just cackles, calls it trash. In his eyes, if you aren't level 99, you don't exist. Sub 99 is for weaklings. And every time Han questions this logic, whack, a fist to the skull, and double the workout. 1 decade fades into 2. Han grows up in this isolated hellscape, probably wondering why he didn't just rage quit and delete his account ages ago. Finally, the endgame. The master declares his work finished. He's passed on every trick in the book and is ready to kick the bucket. Han plays the part of the grieving son, fake tears, and all praying this dramatic death scene triggers a juicy inheritance quest. Bingo. The old man drops a coordinate linked to Han's destiny, flares up with one last terrifying burst of aura, and croaks. Freedom at last. The 20-year tutorial from hell is over. Snap back to present day. Freshly reset to level 1, Han finally breaches the starter zone. He steps into Urkus, and the reality hits him like a truck. 20 years. Gone. He scans the plaza, recognizing the same cobblestones he walked on when he was just a confused little kid. Vendors shouting deals, players grabbing lunch, the whole place vibrating with life. It's peaceful. It's nostalgic. It hits him right in the feels he actually missed civilization. But enough sightseeing. It feels good to be back, but he's got work to do. He spins around and beelines for the west gate, ready to hunt. But just as he tries to leave, halt. A guard steps up, demanding a level check. Han admits he's sitting at a humble level 1 despite looking like a grown 26-year-old man. The guard blinks, visibly confused. Thinking this guy is a total rookie, he points a thumb toward the east gate instead. Safety first, pal. He warns that the west side is a death trap for a level 1 noob. Han tilts his head. Is it illegal to go out there? Guard shakes his head. Not illegal, just suicidal. He's trying to save this guy from a quick respawn timer. Claims a level 1 couldn't even handle a fanged rabbit without getting wrecked. He practically begs Han to go hit some slime on the east side. Han just smirks that cocky main character grin. He steps past the guard, who lets out a heavy, tired sigh. You can't fix stupid. The guard figures this guy thinks death is cheap and he'll just wake up at the nearest shrine. Still, it's reckless. Suddenly, ding, a system quest pops up. Han realizes the NPC is actually looking out for him. Nice touch. Quest accepted. Time to put on a show. He throws a lazy wave over his shoulder. Right, as a fanged rabbit launches a stealth attack, the guard screams dodge, but Han doesn't flinch. One casual punch. Splat. XP gained. The rabbit is paced. The guard freezes mid-step, jaw on the floor, trying to process the impossibility he just saw. Didn't you say you were level 1? Han nods, confused. Can't this NPC read his status bar? It's right there. The guard stammers. He can see the level, but his brain refuses to connect the dots. Level 1s don't do that. He demands to know what cheat code Han is using. Han just stands there grinning like he knows a secret the universe doesn't. He keeps his mouth shut. But the tutorial isn't over. The bushes crash open and a massive, enraged boar charges them down. The guard goes pale. He's screaming, "Get back," but Han stands his ground, completely unbothered. He shoots the guard a look that says, "Chill, I got this." The guard knows a boar can kill, but Han clearly didn't get the memo or doesn't care. Han steps in. Boom. Fist meets face. The boar drops instantly. Another one-hit KO, another sweet level-up notification. The guard is done. His reality is shattered. He's staring at a level 1 rookie who hits like a max-level warlord, and nothing makes sense anymore. He mumbles about pure insanity. Obviously, Han secures the 30,000 gold payout. From a quest so basic, it's a total joke. Satisfaction hits different. His stats, a clean 99. Straight down the line. Details can wait. He is already eyeing a high-tier grinding spot. He chuckles, strutting away, finally free from the living hell his life used to be. 20 years of grinding are finally paying dividends. He is manifesting smooth sailing from here on. Out, but days later reality checks him. He squints, thinking, "Are you kidding me right now?" A red system alert flashes murderer. The chaos system boots up, branding him with a target on his back that the whole server can see. Lately, he has been a magnet for trouble, spiraling into total confusion. Then boom, NPCs spawn out of nowhere to jump him. They all think he is some high bounty fugitive. Realization hits, it is his luck stat. -99. With RNG that broken, every NPC is convinced he is the villain. One sneak attacks him, but instinct takes the wheel, and he deletes the guy instantly. He didn't want a PK. He is just trying to survive. But fate chooses the toxic route. The system forces him into a max chaotic state, stacking up heavy debuffs. He knows he is cooked, and now the NPCs have backup. Actual players join the hunt. They are screaming Gedrock, mistaking him for some legendary serial killer. He sprints through the alleyways, totally lost on why they slapped that label on him. Taking out a chaotic user grants hero status, so every clout-chasing sweat is on his tail. Thanks to the status effect, he is cornered. Dead end. They circle him, demanding surrender. Like that is ever happening. He pivots, death in his eyes. Boom, a massive shockwave detonates, vaporizing the entire squad in a split second. Zero remorse. Pure survival instinct. He ghosts the city to shake the heat. On the bright side, those noobs gave him free XP. 2 weeks later, deep in the jungle, he checks his status. He is grounded for at least a year, before the chaotic tag clears. If he is going to be the bad guy, he is going to live like a king, and eat good. Being a hero? Cancelled. With all stats maxed at 99, he is untouchable. But then the irony hits him. 20 years of blood, sweat, and grind, and the system rewards him with this garbage. Just when life looked up, he gets hit with a max chaotic nerfing. No warning. Gotta be Zeus. That shady god is definitely scripting some twisted drama for him. The next morning, he wakes up to absolute comedy. A mob of guys bowing down to him. He is thinking, what now? An elder is literally weeping, screaming about seeing the absolute ruler's heir, claiming he can die happy now. They hail him as the Sky Devil's absolute ruler. Han is frozen, processing this new level of crazy. Just then, ding, a system window pops. SSS class quest. It is official. The system recognizes him as the Sky Devil's absolute ruler. No debate. SSS class is the peak. The holy grail of gaming. Only happened 3 times in 200 years of Olympus lore. We are talking nation-shattering stakes for a storyline this rare. He pauses. Why him? Watching these NPCs scraping the dirt, worshipping his existence, he realizes he is trapped in a massive plot that Zeus has been scripting for 2 decades. Han opens a history file, detailing 7,000 years of anarchy. Post-war, the world split into a triad of power. The bad boys, Centennia, ruled by Grazia Mentas, a guy with 14 wives. Wife number 7 had a kid who had a kid. A whole lineage chain. But looking at the weeping elders, he sighs. Guess there is no skip button for this one. It looks disrespectful to just bail, so he keeps scrolling through the lore, deep diving into the legend of the era's supreme tyrant, Shurtera. This guy didn't just rise to power, he dominated. Shurtera chugged actual devil blood, becoming a nightmare fueled by pure cruelty and raw stats. Every hero in the server was terrified of him. And get this, he wasn't beaten in combat. He got taken down by a honey trap, not killed, just benched. Shurtera went away from keyboard in a cave to recharge his batteries. Then it clicks for Han, his old master isn't just some random NPC. He's a direct bloodline descendant of this monster. The system acts like a GPS on steroids, flashing the next objectives right in his face. Before wrapping up the quest, Han figures his next waypoint is Seoul. He pivots to the group of geezers standing there and asks, "Yo, are you guys the Sky Devil Elders?" The leader straight up face plants into the dirt, sobbing gratitude just because Han recognized them. Reality check, our boy is just trying to speedrun this trash quest. He has zero clue who these people are. Time to finesse. Han drops a massive lie. My master sent me to lead you guys and bring the Sky Devil brand back to the top of the server. The old dudes start weeping, tears of joy bowing like crazy. Han realizes he just unlocked the legendary 7 Elders unit, and their loyalty stat is maxed out. He points to one and says, "You're up." The elder stands tall, ready to report. "Those bug-faced creeps that were surrounding us, I already deleted them from existence, boss." The second Han parties up with them, his avatar lights up like a Christmas tree. Ding! Instant jump to level 9. Han starts sweating. What kind of monsters did these guys farm back in the day? Han turns to the MVP. "What's the name?" The old-timer responds with total reverence, I am Luxo, the first elder himself. Han hits him with, we got business to handle. Luxo bows low. Your command, my lord. Han pulls another excuse out of his pocket. I'm nerfed right now. Can't use my master's ult moves due to a special debuff. The brain remembers the combos, but the hardware is lagging. The elder nods sagely. Figured as much, boss. Han switches to charisma mode to keep the hype train going. Just trust the process. I am the absolute ruler after all. I'm taking us to the promised land. The squad goes wild, gearing up and chanting my lord like a cult. Ping system notification, Sky Devil loyalty increased. Han flashes a wicked grin. Everything is going according to plan. Let's roll. Cut to in real life, Han shuffles to the kitchen for a caffeine fix. He bumps into his sister, Han Sea. She's flexing about her guild pulling off a massive raid recently. Then she drops intel on a serial killer named Get Rock lurking near Centennia. Han plays dumb, keeping a poker face, even though he is the chaos bringer she's describing. Sis details the loadout guy, wields dual pistols. He's around level 40 and wiped a 7-man squad solo. A total unit. Catch him, get 3 million gold. Han pauses. The math isn't mathing. Wait, isn't the actual bounty 100 million? She gets flustered, mumbling about union fees eating the profit. Han calls BS. That's a total scam. You guys do the heavy lifting while the guild takes the bag. She laughs it off, promising a BBQ feast if she secures the reward. Han says bet, and dives back into the game. Back in Olympus, Luxo whispers, we got a tail. Han decides to run a vibe check on the stalker first. He tries DMing his sister in-game, but the message fails. She's on a different server continent. So it's not her. Suddenly, a shadow creeps up from behind. It's the real Get Rock. You fake scrub. Han is confused until he spots the signature dual pistols in the guy's hands. Oh snap, it's the genuine article. The notorious wanted criminal, and he is absolutely livid about the identity theft. I'm going to end you for stealing my rep. Han is actually relieved. His sister dropped the lore earlier. Han's stats are decent, but this guy is level 40. Han runs the numbers. What happens? When you fight a boss with a 30-level gap, he cracks an evil smirk. Who said this was a 1v1? Luxo Sikkim. The first elder materializes out of thin air. Get Rock freezes, totally blindsided. He didn't even trigger the radar. Han points a finger. Delete him. Get Rock laughs. I'll double kill you both. But Luxo moves so fast he basically teleports. Before the criminal can even blink, his head hits the dirt. Luxo clicks his sword back into the sheath, while Han stands there, jaw on the floor. Han's mind races. Get Rock was level 40. Is Luxo just that broken? Or was the bounty hunter a fraud? Han feels a sting of embarrassment. He couldn't even track the movement speed. If I had my ocular skills maxed, I would have seen the mana flow. Luxo casually hands over the severed head like it's a grocery bag. Cha-ching system notification, massive XP gain, and the full 100 million gold bounty deposited. Bag secured. Serial killer, please. Han gives major props to the elder before getting hit with a wave of nostalgia. Crazy how the tables have turned. Dude couldn't even snag a minimum wage gig before, all because he was slapped with the max chaotic label. But Han He delivers an Oscar-worthy performance, locking in on whatever twisted scenario or quest the system spams his way, grinding absolutely non-stop on his path to becoming a monarch. Cut to 2 weeks later, Han is prowling through the dense jungle, while his squad of elders obliterates every mob and beast daring to cross our boy's path. Boom, Han hits level 13 just like that, which is a literal speedrun pace, considering normal players usually grind for years to see that kind of progress. He's sitting on a god-tier skill, heaven-breaking ghost art. The catch, it's locked until level 40. So yeah, level 40 is when the real game actually begins. Watching the elders work, he realizes this operation is basically a corporate power leveling service, farming loot, using full-throttle grinding and Sky Devil minions. Han shifts focus to his inventory, specifically the bag holding a severed head. What's the move here? Back in the real world, Han hops on his PC, scouring forums for the best black markets for high-tier loot. Top comment, sell it in-game, bro. The Olympus community backs that play, but Han hits a wall. He remembers he's effectively shadow banned from every public institution inside the game thanks to that cursed max-level chaotic status. Plus, the payout is in gold, a currency that doesn't exactly swap easily in the real world. And risking a personal data leak isn't an option. Just then, his sister breezes in, beaming with a bright smile. Perfect timing. She reads the room wrong, assuming her broke brother is fishing for pocket change. Han cringes awkwardly, shutting that theory down fast. He drops the bomb. What would you do if I handed you a criminal's head? She blinks, confused, before bursting into laughter, wondering why he would give it to her even if he somehow had one. She trolls him, telling him to quit dreaming and just go buy a hamburger. If he's actually holding a bounty head, and maybe treat her to one too. But Han's face goes stone cold. 50-50 split. Tia's smile fades as she realizes he isn't joking. She hits him with facts. Han Getrock is literally level 40. Even if her brother respawned a million times, there's no way he clapped that guy. Plus, isn't he soft-locked out of high-level zones? Because he's stuck in that trash tutorial training. Han cuts her off. He escaped days ago, and the criminal already bagged and tagged, which leaves his sister shook. She reminds him, the target is level 40. The math isn't mathing. How does a newbie take him down? Han scratches his head, laughing awkwardly. I hit him once and he just dropped. Then he drops the mic. His estimated level is 99. He jogs her memory. He literally texted her a screenshot 10 years ago. Flashback hits her. She did get that DM from her brother, claiming he was maxed out at level 99. Back then, she figured he was just struggling so hard he started hallucinating or trolling her. Back in the present, she gives a guilty smile. I thought it was Photoshop. Han shrugs, believe him, don't believe him, whatever. He just gives her the mission. Meet him in the Centennia Mountains if she wants the loot. He's sending the exact coordinates now. She logs in annoyed. Why trek all the way to this godforsaken forest? Then Han drops the truth bomb. I'm a max chaotic. That news drains the color right out of her face. In-game, she pulls up to the west gate and informs the guards. She's got business in the mountains. The guards block her path. She goes out there. She gets insta-killed by mobs. She laughs it off, totally ignoring the NPC warnings. They try to physically block her, but she just waves goodbye and dives into the tree line. 3 hours of trekking through dense jungle later, the silence starts creeping her out. And then it clicks. Han promised he'd wipe the map clean of mobs and monsters for her. She scans the area. It's not just the monsters. Literally every living organism has been deleted. Poof! Han materializes right behind her. Tia lets out a blood-curdling scream, jumping out of her skin. How did he move with zero sound? Then she feels it, the suffocating, insanely dense aura, radiating off her brother. He wasn't capping about the max chaotic thing. Panic sets in. Did he murder an NPC to get this way? Han ignores the interrogation and tosses her the bag. Inside, the criminal's head, carrying a 100 million gold bounty. Is this a fever dream? She stares at the jackpot in her hands and the reality finally hits. It's legit. And she instantly starts spiraling. How did he even pull this off? She's looking at him like he's a god. Han cuts the praise short. Go cash it in. Hurry. And a friendly warning, run off with the loot and she's dead meat. Cut to the Adventurers Guild. She slams the bag on the counter. The staff inspects it. Confirmed. That's Get Rock. Quest kill the criminal cleared. She's standing there, mind still blown. The payout drops 100 million gold. Her brain starts spiraling with her cut. She could eat gourmet hamburgers for the rest of her life. Totally carefree. But then she pauses. Han worked his butt off for this. His grind is finally paying dividends. She heads back to the jungle rendezvous. She hands over the gold, but Han notices the stack is heavy. 99 million gold instead of 50. He's confused for a split second, then a bright grin spreads across his face. Yeah, he definitely earned this. After 2 decades of torture, he refuses to split the pot, but he's definitely pocketing a cool 1 million gold. Call it a tip, a little thank you gift for her. He's ready to shower her with more, but she's not hearing it, already sprinting away. Over her shoulder, she yells that her morning shift is starting, so she's gotta bail. Han just stands there, totally stunned. But she drops a promise before vanishing burgers tonight on her. She wants him and the parents at the dinner table. Han cracks a smile, hoping she makes it back safe. Time for the math. He checks the net profit on that 99 million gold after taxes. That converts to roughly 80 million won in cold hard cash. First run, and he's already bawling. This is absolutely his destiny. Who cares if he's branded a max chaotic? The real SSS class grind hasn't even begun and his bank account is already exploding. Now he's sitting pretty with an 80 million won safety net to fall back on. Imagine the payout when he actually clears the main quest. But first he needs to speedrun to level 40 immediately. He needs to unlock the next stage. Time is money, so every second counts. Later that evening, Han links up with his sister, in real life. Since his max chaotic status puts a target on his back, he can't shop publicly. He needs her to be his in-game mule. She tries to dodge the favor, exhausted from work, but Han drops a tempting offer if she plays along. He promises a monthly allowance of 300,000 won. She counters immediately, make it 500,000. Deal sealed. Sia logs back in. Hours later, a drained Han finally equips his fresh gear. It's all specialized loot. His sister snagged pure XP boosters to skyrocket his leveling speed. The catch. This shopping spree just burned a 70 million won hole in his pocket. For the first time, he earned that cash with his own 2 hands. Sia, however, couldn't care less about his journey. She just wants her cut for running all those errands. Then she absolutely destroys his vibe. She demands 3 million gold for the first teleport plus 300,000 for every stop after. Ruthless. Han locks in, ready to embrace whatever chaotic script the system writes for him. He's all in on the path to becoming a monarch. Time to make moves. He summons the elders. The goal is simple, grind and level up. Next day, Han hits the Zeph Mountains just chilling and minding his own business. Suddenly, a fully armored tank clocks him. He squints at Han's status, max chaotic. One party member grins. Killing this guy means major clout. But then they look closer. Han looks pathetic. He's wearing starter trash. They figure he's been killed so many times he's lost all his good gear. The leader thinks they have the drop on him. Low awareness, low gear, definitely a total noob. The leader signals the squad to prep for a gank. It's hunting season on a max chaotic. Meanwhile, Han strolls through the forest, noticing the sudden eerie silence. No mobs anywhere. Suddenly a system alert screams an external force is attacking. Someone's trying to bind his movements. Han doesn't feel a thing, but the ambush squad is watching closely. They start panicking when their binding spell bounces right off him. One of them whispers a theory. Maybe he's a high-level mage, but looking at those rags he's wearing, they dismiss it immediately. Just a broke loser who died too many times. The archer draws back his bowstring. The raid leader snaps, cut the chatter, and kill him already. He orders a tank to keep Han engaged so he can't log out or warp. The leader and his vice captain move in. They close the distance for the execute. Just as they wind up, Han glances over his shoulder. His eyes are ice cold. One look that screams run now or die. But these morons think he's faking it. The leader charges in putting full power behind the strike. Han casually asks their levels, just as a massive hammer smashes into his skull and bounces off like it hit a diamond wall. The vice captain follows up with a vicious sword/0 damage. The squad tries to combo their attacks. Arrows rain down from the archer, but they all freeze in horror. His HP bar hasn't moved a single pixel. Han yawns, sizing them up. Big sword guy, probably barely level 40. Looks like he's pushing late 20s in stats. The archer is furiously scanning, Han confused by the lack of visible armor. Han hasn't even cast a buff. The archer starts sweating, thinking it must be some passive, hidden magic. Han gives a subtle motion he was ready for this ambush all along. The raid leader looks ready to wet his pants. Han stands there bored to death. Their ultimate attacks feel like toddler slaps. Time to end this. He winds up for the counter. Since his magic was totally locked down, he planted his feet, shifting into a gritty, old-school brawler stance. He was primed to throw hands, but the archer, that guy was sweating bullets, bracing for some catastrophic high-tier spell. Playing the distance game, the archer screamed for the team to hold the line, while he frantically charged up a magic-infused arrow. Too slow. He'd already closed the gap, burying his fist into the director's jaw and sending him on a one-way trip to the Shadow Realm. Ping the system flared red, warning him that his crime stat was skyrocketing with every brutal assault on another player. The Hammer Knight roared, charging in like a tank but against his raw strength. The guy looked like a total clown. Ping crime stat rising. One punch. That's all it took to fold the so-called tank like a lawn chair, leaving the archer and support crew frozen in disbelief. They stood there like glitches in the Matrix, realizing they hadn't even popped a single buff. Pure chaos erupted as their leader shrieked at the squad. Run. This wasn't a fight. It was a massacre waiting to happen. The archer scrambled backward, desperate to put distance between him and death. Instant regret washed over him. They hadn't engaged a mage. They'd poked a sleeping dragon, a literal monster in human skin. But escape wasn't an option. In a blink, he teleported looming right behind the archer, like a vengeful phantom. The archer's mind snapped. How could anyone move that fast? Then, he saw a savage, bloodthirsty grin directed right at him. A predator's smile that screamed, "You started this, but I'm going to finish it," flashing nothing but teeth and murderous intent. Now they were scattering like rats. Cold terror gripped the archer as he realized the truth. The guy had been hoarding his blink skill. He'd been toying with them from the start. Only one class moved with that kind of terrifying fluidity, a high level. Melee Battle Wizard, pushing level 60+. Someone on par with the legendary hunter Rufendal. And then, the beatdown truly began. By the time the dust settled and he finished mopping the floor with their faces, he'd power leveled straight to 16. Surprisingly, he chose mercy, sparing their pathetic lives. Ding, the system rewarded his benevolence with a sweet boost to loyalty points. Specifically with the elders. He even unlocked a new skill, charisma. No clue what it actually did, but, hey, sounded expensive. He'd figure it out later. Suddenly, Luxo materialized behind him, insisting there was something he absolutely needed to see. Dragged along by duty, 7 hellish days passed before he finally stumbled into the Sky Devil hideout. He looked wrecked, starved, exhausted, practically a walking corpse, muttering curses with every painful step. Why was this place in the middle of nowhere? His mind drifted back to the start of this nightmare. One minute he was vibing. The next an elder yanks him through a portal, dumping him in a scorching desert while rambling about the adventurer's column. He thought he'd farm some easy step-up points just by walking. He didn't sign up for a literal 7-day death march. Finally, the elder pointed ahead, the village. A tiny spark of hope flared in his chest. He prayed to the gaming gods for a meal, but the moment he saw the destination, a crumbling, filthy ruin, his soul left his body. Was this a joke? This pile of rubble was the destination. He stared at the desolation, disbelief washing over him. Vertigo hit him hard. His master must have really done a number on this place to leave it in such a sorry state. The locals were skin and bones, literally starving. yet they dropped to their knees instantly hailing him as the absolute ruler and savior. To them, God had arrived. To him, ping new quest, restore the village. Great. The place was barely standing. As they bowed, he forced a grimace that looked like a smile, fighting the urge to pass out from hunger right there. Just as the darkness crept in, an ancient figure stepped forward, Prophet Carl, a dude who had somehow survived 163 years. The old man looked ready to cry with relief that his lord was finally here, and immediately started dropping lore. Apparently, Carl had raised 12 elders in this secret hole hiding from the Empire, dedicating generations to one mission: finding the descendant of the absolute ruler. The catch: they were living in a barren wasteland, no monsters, no game, no crops, nothing. He listened thinking, this is moronic. Why starve? Why not just import food like normal people? But Carl shut that down. Impossible. They were trapped. Not even the elders could leave to fetch supplies. Reality sank in. His first act as ruler wasn't conquest. It was stopping his entire kingdom from starving to death. He summoned Luxo. How much time do we have? The elder did the grim math. 2 weeks, max. Nodding, he climbed a mound of rubble to address his starving subjects. I know you're suffering, he projected, his voice steady. I've been locked away in training, preparing for this moment, unable to aid you until now. But that ends today. I swear on my life I will turn this around. I will keep you alive, no matter the cost. Internally, he calculated, 2 weeks is doable. Aloud, he commanded, endure just a little longer for me. Ding, morale skyrocketing, loyalty maxed. He smirked and signaled, Luxo, let's move. We've got work to do. Speed is the name of the game, so the squad stays behind to hold the fort. Luxo nods, zero pushback. It's just the duo now. Han drops the mission orders. Luxo is on mob duty, slay anything that moves and vacuum up the loot drops. Han figures this quest is going to be a total speed run. Fast forward 1 week into the deep mountains. Luxo is low-key vibing, impressed his lord. Actually clutched the prep work on time. He shrugs, like it's standard procedure. He targeted the easy objectives first to save the clock. Now he's chilling on a massive boulder, staring down a mountain of bags filled with mystery loot. Rewind a few days, Han slid into his sister's DMs with a massive request. The ask: secure a spatial pocket and rustle up enough gruel to feed an army of 800 souls. Then mule it all the way to the rendezvous point. She nearly choked on her drink. Why the hell does he need rations for 800 people? The supply chain was set. When she finally pulls up to the treacherous peaks, her brain is still buffering, trying to process her brother's chaotic scheme. Then Han flicks a blue monostone at her as payment, leaving her absolutely shook. Her mind goes down a rabbit hole. Is he being bankrolled by some cartel? Or a shadow organization? Han cuts the noise. No sugar daddy here. Just liquidate the stone and keep a 10% commission. Her face drains of color, but she copes by calling it RNG luck, refusing to believe her brother is actually this cracked. Next order of business: use the stone money to secure 3 warp portals on the return trip. The blueprint link the mountain extract point directly to the Sky Devils HQ and their village. We're talking about slashing a brutal week-long death march down to an instant step. Han calls it a masterstroke, even if burning cash on 3 warps makes his wallet weep. Meanwhile, back at base, the 12th Elder Erda is stewing in anger, convinced Han ghosted them, leaving the clan to starve. And now this rookie thinks he can waltz back in and claim the throne. Just because he has the successor tag. Sure, Luxo is a simp for him, ready to die on command. But Erda isn't drinking the Kool-Aid. He is locked and loaded on one thought: if Han tries to play games with the Sky Devil legacy, or drops a single lie, Erda will personally delete him from existence. Suddenly, Han makes his grand entrance, and the village erupts hysteria, screaming that the absolute ruler has returned with the goods. Erda steps out, confused by the noise, until his eyes bug out at the mountain of porridge. Han just flexes the inventory. He quips that he wanted to bring a feast of milk and honey, but greasy food on empty stomachs would literally cause a biological wipeout. So it's survival sludge for now. Erda stands frozen brain, unable to compute the logistics of this massive supply drop. The crowd loses it, chanting absolute great ruler like they're at a sold-out concert. His influence stat skyrockets. To these people, the guy is basically holding the cheat codes to life. Han flashes a devilish smirk. He knows he's winning. He tags an elder to team up with Luxo and manage distribution while he retreats indoors. Stomachs are full, but the checklist isn't done. He needs to secure gear and roofs, but food and defense are the meta right now. Suddenly, a heavy knock rattles the frame. Han permits entry. It's Erda, hitting the deck instantly, face to the floor, pleading for mercy for his treasonous thoughts. Han realizes the guy folded faster than laundry. The elder is weeping, full-on ugly crying, bashing himself for ever doubting the plan. He expected a grind, but Han is speedrunning the rebellion. Han hides a chaotic smile. This is going perfect. He tells Erda to take a breath. He admits, look, I'm still nerfed, so your skepticism was valid. Honestly, I would have doubted me too. But now, he demands loyalty. Invest in him now, and the ROI will be 10 times the value. He delivers this with a blinding protagonist smile, breaking Erda completely into a puddle of apologies. Achievement unlocked. Loyalty of the 12th Elder secured. Deep down though, Han thinks, this guy is simple. Meanwhile, the system pings. Level 19 reached. Stat points acquired. Time to playtest the new build. He recalls Luxo's warning, stay off the Empire's radar for now. The other elders echoed the sentiment, but if he's going hunting, he needs a wingman. Erda is the meta pick. His stealth stats are S tier. Deep in the brush, a wild ursine spawns. Han pauses. That's not a normal mob. Giant bear variant Erda unsheathes steel, ready to aggro. But Han signals halt. His database pings giant bears are level 40 elites. Regular players need a full party of 5 or 6 just to survive this beast, but Han he eats entire squads for breakfast, so soloing this ursine nightmare is just a Tuesday for him. The beast locks eyes with him and roars, barreling forward like a freight train, but Han launches himself skyward, descending like a meteor with a fist full of absolute destruction. Boom. One hit and the monster is flattened into a rug. Easy money, he scoffs, pocketing 20,000 gold and a pathetic crumb of XP. Erda watches from the sidelines, jaw on the floor, his loyalty meter maxing out instantly as he stares at the obliterated carcass. Han frowns at his fist. Did that bear have paper-thin defense, or has he just become confusingly overpowered? Whatever. He signals Erda to hustle. Playtime is over, and it is time to raid a Mantium dungeon. Days later, they hit the entrance, and Erda immediately stiffens, sensing a crowd lurking in the shadows inside. Han nods. Makes sense, considering this low-tier dungeon sits right in the village of beginning, just a stone's throw from Urka's. It is the perfect grinding spot for academy noobs and Great Union instructors, since clearing it guarantees juicy stat points for everyone. A smirk tugs at his lips as he replays that one-shot bear kill in his head. It makes him wonder, do these high and mighty Great Union instructors actually have hands, or are they just hype compared to him? He strides into the safe zone, commanding Erda to activate stealth mode and stick to his shadow like a ghost. Nearby, a trembling student confesses it is only his second run, looking like he is about to throw up from anxiety. He is just praying for a clear when he freezes eyes, locking onto Han, the server's most infamous chaotic player. Pure terror kicks in, and the kids scramble desperate to find their instructor before the big bad villain wipes them out. Right on cue, a smug instructor struts in, puffing his chest out and staring Han down like he actually stands a chance. But Han is distracted by a glitch in his matrix. Earlier, he realized a rage-inducing truth: monsters drop absolutely zero loot when he lands the kill. He checks his status screen and facepalms his luck stat is sitting at a disastrous -99. That basically nukes his drop rates into oblivion, making him wish the Elder was here to last-hit mobs so the universe wouldn't rob him blind. Reality snaps back as the instructor marches over, barking demands and asking what a guy like him is doing here. Han remembers his sister's warning. Great Union instructors are usually level 40 plus and love power tripping. She was right on the money. This guy radiates arrogant prick energy and is clearly looking for a fight. The guy doubles down on his interrogation, but Han just tilts his head, asking why this rando thinks he has the authority to talk down to him. The instructor rolls his eyes, acting like he has seen a million punks like Han offering a generous chance to flee. He scans Han's stats and laughs. Level 19. You have got to be kidding me. Seeing no flashy gear, he pegs Han as trash, a scavenger who probably PKs newbie students just to sell their loot. Han is bewildered by the wild accusations but decides to play it cool since there are civilians watching. Chill out and do your job, Han says, explaining he is just here for the dungeon run, but the instructor is not hearing a word of it. The man sneers, convinced he has uncovered a villainous plot, just as the system pings warning safe zone deactivated. Get behind me, the instructor bellows, finally looking like the hero the students think he is. Han sighs, annoyance flaring up. He tells the guy to back off before things get ugly, because he really isn't trying to start a war. But the instructor treats him like a bluffing loser, forcing Han to repeat himself. I am not here to bully kids, you moron. He insists he is not some low-life criminal, but the instructor silences him by unsheathing a gleaming blade. The safe zone barrier dissolves, and the instructor lunges with killing intent, spitting insults as he swings. That is it. Han's patience bar hits 0. He gives one final warning, but the fool commits fully to the attack. Shing. The sword slices right through Han's silhouette. But he stands there completely unbothered, as if the steel was made of air. The instructor freezes mind-racing illusion magic until Han shoots him a glare cold enough to freeze hell, asking, "That's it." A cold sweat breaks out on the instructor's neck as he realizes this is no ordinary newbie. Panic sets in. He scrambles to radio for backup, convinced this level 19 freak is hacking the system with some hidden chaotic skill. I told you I wasn't here for trouble, Han mutters, stepping closer to the trembling man. And I gave you a warning. Done talking, Han drives a fist straight into the instructor's solar plexus. The guy's eyes bulge. He can't process that he just got speed blitzed by a bare-handed rookie, and he fumbles uselessly for his communicator. K-boom. An explosion of light swallows the corridor, and with that single casual strike, Han deletes him from the fight. The smoke clears to reveal the students shivering in a pile, checking their pulses, while Han turns his terrifying gaze upon them. His eyes ask a silent question. You guys want some too? They shake their heads so hard their necks almost snap, and Han smirks. Didn't think so. After lecturing the rookies to grind properly and stop acting like delinquents, he zones out, drifting into his own head. He reflects on the beatdown. He wasn't trying to grief the kids, just teach them a lesson. Looking up, a massive fortress looms ahead, guarded by a legion of weapon-toting skeletons. This has to be the dungeon's core, planted right in the dead center. Recalling the strategy guide, he knows he needs to demolish this stronghold. To unlock the final boss stage, since the loot drops here are trash, he decides to ignore the trash mobs. He ghosts past the murderous skeletons and sprints directly at the walls. The system interface flashes red screaming alerts about the insane aggro he's drawing and the lethal damage incoming. He ignores the HUD completely. He calculates, maybe 10 solid strikes to bring the walls down. But wham! One casual hit, and the entire structure folds, like wet tissue paper. He stares at the rubble, totally underwhelmed. Wasn't this thing supposed to be tanky? Whatever, at least it was a quick clear. He doesn't waste a frame, pushing forward to mop up the rest of the zone. Moments later, the pro instructors summoned by the terrified students finally scene transition in. They freeze. The fortress is already history. For a level 19 player to do this, the math isn't mathing. Their jaws hit the floor. How did he nuke the fortress without triggering the skeleton guards? It defies all logic. They suspect he's using some broken legendary tier item. Suddenly, a global notification pops: dungeon cleared. The instructors are paralyzed with shock. This speedrun is physically impossible. Their brains refuse to accept reality. Meanwhile, Han is annoyed by the sheer density of skeleton mobs spawning everywhere. For a normal level 19, this place is a death trap. But Han, he's built different. He bulldozes toward the final stage, shrugging off skeletons lunging from the shadows. They don't even register as threats. As he strolls into the boss room to see if the final challenge actually has some teeth, he explodes forward, slamming into the objective with max power, silently praying it doesn't break like glass. Bad luck. The final stage's barrier shatters instantly under his fist. He grimaces, wondering why the devs made these shields so flimsy. Sensing the instructors closing in, he decides to speedrun the exit. The system cheers, awarding him the dungeon cleared achievement. He scoffs. Just another pathetic low-tier grind. He didn't even break a sweat. Time to cash in. He dumps all his earned points into his stats until he finally dings level 20. Destination unlocked. Field of Darkness. He assumes the instructors are hot on his trail, but the radar is clear.
They must be camping the spawn point.
He steps out of the dungeon portal and freezes. It's not a camp, it's a battalion. An entire army of instructors is waiting for him. One of them bellows, demanding the enemy commander reveal himself. Han blinks, confused. He's standing there solo. Who are they screaming at? He side-eyes the elder, checking if his stealth skill glitched. The elder confirms he's visible. The instructor switches tactics, calmly stating he knows what Han wants and proposes a ceasefire. The guy is trying to de-escalate with pure logic, which actually ticks Han off. He was kind of hoping for a boss fight with the pros, but seeing them hesitate feels weird. He realizes if he throws hands right now, the crossfire will definitely wipe out some students, and massacring powerless kids, not his style. The instructor offers a deal: walk away, and they won't pursue. He implies Han is smart enough not to throw his life away on a pointless skirmish. Han reads the room and agrees. He wasn't planning a massacre anyway, and casually mentions he already warned the last guy to back off. He strides right through their formation like he owns the place. His mind is already on the next objective, the Field of Darkness. Time to hunt some real players. The lead instructor exhales, shoulders dropping, while his partner stands there silently thanking the gods they avoided a bloodbath. Instructor Zergo plays it cool. He had intel that the last instructor who tried to check Han triggered a fight that got innocent students killed, even though he approached carefully. Han cleared that dungeon with impossible speed, proving he's got monstrous power or backup backing him. Zergo knew with all these students exposed, the only winning move was to let the monster leave. Zero provocation. Meanwhile, another instructor is staring daggers at him, trying to figure out who the hell this maniac is. One thing is crystal clear: Han is radiating pure max-level chaotic energy. The guy is suspicious enough that he might actually be Rufundal. Everyone knows Rufundal is supposedly capped at level 50, but honestly, there is always a chance. He is running a cheat code to mask his real stats. Cut to a different location, the real Rufundal is busy 1vs manying a squad, tearing them apart with his death nail. He lets out a chilling laugh, taunting them to scrub their backs before he ruthlessly deletes their HP bars, mocking them to just rage quit the game if they are going to stay down. He is a certified max-level chaotic, and he is strictly here for the loot drop. Farming these noobs feels insanely lucrative. Suddenly, it hits him some stalker has been on his tail lately, even though they have never actually crossed paths. Word on the street is there is a copycat running around the map impersonating him. He figures some wannabe Max Chaotic is out there stealing his valor. Apparently this poser caused a massive scene in the Amantium dungeon recently. If this keeps up, he risks getting booted from the Great Union and angering the Great Union. That is basically a death sentence. Time to hunt down this punk, stealing his identity before it all goes south. Meanwhile, back at the Sky Devil village, Han touches down and briefs the elders that they are deploying to a zone swarming with airborne monsters. Scanning the room, he knows he needs a specialist in long-range ballistics. Luxo instantly catches the drift, and an elder proudly shoots his hand up, claiming the title of top sniper. Han decides he is dragging this guy along for the ride. The elder nods, flashing a sinister grin. Then a random thought hits Han. His sister's birthday is coming up. Maybe he should actually try being a decent brother for once. He resolves to grind extra hard today so he can secure a birthday gift, and maybe even a whole apartment down the line. Touching down at the Field of Darkness, the place is packed with players. The system pings a warning respawn timer is ticking down. Han notes the timing and turns to Zeta the Elder, tagging along, asking if he is good to go. Turns out Zeta is absolutely unhinged. The guy starts screaming that he will follow every single order to the death. We are talking snapping bones, peeling skin, incinerating any trash, blocking his master's path with hellfire, and literally tearing limbs off anyone who steps up. Han is a little thrown off by the old man's intensity. The whole vibe is giving serious back alley psycho. Nearby, players clock his max chaotic status. One dude thinks it is his ticket to viral fame, and his buddy agrees. Han orders the elder to wipe these clowns out before backup arrives, and to bag all the monsters, specifically the blue storms. Every player in the Field of Darkness locks onto Han, the big bad boss, but he knows he can just warp out whenever. He turns to Zeta, asking why he even brought him, if not for this moment. He orders him to prove his long-range magic right now. The crazed old man nods, swearing he will never flop on his master. He throws a hand to the sky, silently praying for his master's future to shine. Boom. A blinding purple light floods the horizon as Zeta summons the god of evil, commanding the Titan to march forward and delete anyone daring to stand in his master's path. Players start screaming, scrambling for their lives. Zeta coldly orders the Colossus to stomp them all into the dirt, with zero mercy. Han nods, impressed by the carnage, thinking it is high time he flexed some of his own skills. 2. His killer's mark deepens the weight of his sins, becoming visible to the server. His reputation is going viral across the entire continent. A system notification pops up, branding him a saint of murder, and even he is a little shook by the title. Once a Max Chaotic crosses the line, they get tagged as murderers. And here's the kicker. If a murderer fights anyone with a hero title in PvP, their attack and defense stats get nerfed hard. If they die, resurrection cooldown shoots up to 240 hours, and the chance of dropping items during the next awakening hits a guaranteed 100%. But Han, sitting pretty at the top of the Sky Devil food chain, just glances at the warning window. Will the notoriety counter keep ticking? He brushes it off, figuring it will work out. His charisma stat is skyrocketing, and Sky Devil loyalty is pumping alongside it, while the human players are flailing around trying to survive the Elder. He figures he will deal with that mess later. Gotta clear the map first. When the battlefield finally falls silent, Zeta flashes a vicious victory grin, thinking it is a wrap. Then Han catches something in the distance. He senses it. They have arrived. Red alerts scream across his vision. Chaos inbound bull. Before he can blink, a stampede of horned nightmares comes barreling straight for him. He doesn't even flinch. Why bother when Zeta is on cleanup duty? The Elder looks ready to turn this entire herd into a steakhouse buffet. He tosses a casual good job over his shoulder, ordering Zeta to purge every last mob. Meanwhile, he figures it's time to throw some hands himself, praying just one of these beasts can survive a single tap. But nope. One punch connects, and the mob just deletes. Same old story. At least the payout isn't trash. 18,000 gold coins hit his inventory instantly. Watching that balance tick up, pure serotonin. Motivated by the cash flow, he dives back into the fray while the Elder plays vacuum cleaner with the loot, slaughtering everything that moves. They move like a glitched speedrun duo, absolutely tearing through the map. Two bystanders watching from the sidelines whisper that these guys have to be out of their minds. One guy tries to play it cool, calling it average farming. But his buddy isn't buying it. There is absolutely nothing average about that sword wielder. He's got to be a battle mage, the friend insists, staring at Zeta. They have zero clue the guy is sitting on a hidden nuke of a skill. They're convinced he's a caster because he didn't flinch while wiping their squad earlier. The friend bets his account the guy is level 50 minimum. Suddenly Zeta rockets into the sky, screaming some cringy line about glory to his lord and master, before slamming down a purple shockwave that vaporizes an entire mob pack in a split second. Even he has to admit, that was a little extra. Whatever results are results. A system chime signals a level up. He tells Zeta to switch to loot goblin mode and grab the stones while his cooldowns reset. Zeta doesn't waste a breath. 7 blue stones secure. The farming speed right now, absolutely insane. Boom. Boss spawn. He decides to wrap this up in Ghost before things get messy. Then he lays eyes on the target, while the spectators freeze. It's the Chaos Bull King, a towering minotaur nightmare flexing a humanoid torso on a bull's body. First time facing one of these freaks. He snaps an order to Zeta, clear the trash mobs now. Grab the drops, he commands, eyes locked on the Chaos Bull King, sizing up the beefcake. This thing is way thicker than standard field bosses. For this trouble, it better drop a bundle of at least 20 blue stones. The plan, tank a hit, let it live, and feed the kill to Zeta. But before he can even wind up, Zeta signals, high-level signatures incoming. Fast. He does the math, there's no time to drop the boss, before the vultures land. We're out, he barks, cursing the absolute annoyance of it all. The retreat stings. He hates this weakness, but he makes a silent vow. The Sky Devil's glory will return to this continent. Mark his words. He's actually tearing up not over glory, but over those lost blue stones as they dash away, leaving the two witnesses totally bewildered. Safe in his room, he scours the game's notice boards. Was there a stealth patch on monster spawns? 0. Zilch. So why did an unreleased Black Chaos Bull just crash his party? Has to be his -99 luck stat trolling him again. Is this a jackpot or a death flag? Honestly, who knows? Either way, the regret is eating him alive. He should have just punched that cow into orbit and grabbed the loot bundle. Then he hits a forum thread. Players are panicking. Hunting Grounds just got a silent difficulty buff, jumping straight to level 97. Someone posts about a mansion dungeon run turning into a horror show. Black Skull soldiers spawning out of thin air. Mobs so cracked, players couldn't even log out. Another user mentions getting jumped by a giant black bear in the jungle. The chat is exploding with theories that the devs are secretly shadow buffing the game difficulty. Wait, Mansion Jungle, those are the exact spots he hit today. A cold realization sinks in. Is he the glitch causing this mess? He keeps scrolling. Another post pops up. New black monster spotted in the dark desert. That's his beast. And the post mentions a max chaotic player who massacred the cows before fleeing. Apparently that player bailed when the king showed up. But then the high rankers arrived to clean up the mess. And the drop 3 bundles. 30 blue stones per stack. The comments section is losing its mind over the payout. The blood drains from his face. He screams internally. Those vultures just walked away with 90 blue stones. Real tears stream down his face. He's sobbing like a baby over the fortune that slipped through his fingers. He checks his own pockets. 11 stones. 5.5 million gold. He runs the numbers. It's barely enough for 3 days of groceries. After calculating exchange fees, taxes, and his sister's cut, he's left with a measly 15 million won. He can't even buy her a decent gift with that. He glares at his stat screen. With the grind he puts in, he should be parking a luxury car in his own driveway by now. Instead, his trash base level locks him out of the high-tier zones and half his skills are grayed out, crushed under a mountain of penalties. The math doesn't work. He lets out a heavy sigh. There's only one play left. He's power leveling like a total psycho. Meanwhile, the vibe shifts to a sterile office, where a lackey wraps up his intel briefing. He confirms the target stats just spiked off the charts. From the shadows, a silhouette leans back, dropping a heavy question about the Black Chaos Ball. The reporter doesn't stutter. It's legit. That monster isn't just strong. Its power levels just went god tier. The boss reclines, the realization hitting him. This ain't some trash mob they're dealing with. He shoots a command to the informant. Keep the raids running but double the head count. It doesn't matter if they die. Users are just disposable fodder anyway. Replacing them is child's play. The man with the dead eyes steps into the light, Union Director Young Wook-hyun. His subordinate just nods. But before he dips, the director shifts focus to a masked player from Kyoto who's been griefing the entire desert server today. His face turns to stone. He knows it's that same scumbag who's been trolling their alliance since day one. 3 weeks of non-stop grinding later, the system notification flashes level up, but he's not smiling. Finally, he hits level 29 just as Luxo materializes, looking totally stressed out. The old guy is freaking out, convinced his master's gonna crash after marching for 3 weeks straight. It's kinda sweet, honestly. But he waves it off. Even nerfed with all these restrictions, weakness isn't in his vocabulary. He's got a point to prove to his students. He's gonna show them the true glory of this world. He grabs Luxo's shoulder. The old man will live to see the entire server kneel before the Sky Devils. Breaks are for the weak. He's on that 24/7 grind set, charging forward so Luxo can chill. All he asks for is support. That hits Luxo right in the feels. The guy practically bows to the floor, swearing loyalty until his pixels dissolve. But inside, his inner thoughts are way less noble. He's chasing the bag, a luxury penthouse, a sick sports car, and the ultimate flex, owning the whole damn building. A greedy grin creeps onto his face until a DM ping kills the vibe. Probably his sister. She slides in asking if he got the notification mentioning how these weird quests are spamming everyone lately. He frowns, clicking open the details to see what the hype is about. Whoa, it's linked to the 7th constellation. Han stares at the UI window. It's a massive challenge event. Objective: wipe out a specific evil faction to unlock the constellation rank and become the guardian of the continent. He pauses. Evil faction. That phrasing sounds super sketch. Is the system subtweeting him right now? He tabs out to the forums to see if anyone else smells a rat. The chat is absolutely blowing up. The whole server is losing its mind over this new drop. He scrolls through the toxicity while his sister lurks over his shoulder. Total mess, she says. He nods. Why is the community always so triggered? He's clueless about the hidden class specifics, but if this ties into the main Olympus lore, the power scaling, it's gonna be game-breaking. Sia asks if he's gonna attempt the run. He laughs, yeah right. No NPC is handing a quest to a player with maxed out chaos stats. He flips the question back to her, but she's hesitant. Honestly, she's grinding so hard for the Union already, she definitely doesn't have the bandwidth. She gets all flustered, mumbling that only jobless rankers or sweaty international players would bother. Good point. But something else is bugging him. The difficulty in his usual farming zones feels secretly buffed, and it clicks. This quest is painting a target on his back, framing the Sky Devil crew as the absolute evil to drive the narrative. If his gut is right, he's about to get ganked by 7 hidden class players simultaneously. Worst case, his dream of a chill life is dead. If he doesn't make a move like right now, he's completely screwed. He needs to power up fast. He jacks back into Olympus, and the second his avatar loads, he drops a bomb on the elders. I'm going solo. The 3 of them look like they've seen a ghost. Immediate meltdown. They're screaming, asking why he flipped the script. It's suicide, they yell. They beg him to rethink. He cuts them off. He knows they're loyal, but his new intel changes everything. The Empire is tracking their movements. The heat is too high. This has to be a solo stealth run. The elders get all choked up, pleading with him to stay safe. He sighs internally since that 7 Constellations quest is live. Bringing an entourage would just aggro the Empire harder. He just needs them to hold down the fort here. They haven't even started the real work yet. He looks at his lovable morons, realizing he needs the other elders to vouch for him as soon as possible. Getting Erda's seal of approval was a lucky speedrun strat, but he still needs 4 more signatures. He somehow patched the resource crisis, so he can finally focus on upgrading the shelter. But man, he's burning through cash so fast his hands are tied. The grind is officially on. His eyes are locked on one goal, hitting level 40 by any means necessary. That is the magic number to unlock the heaven-shattering ghost art and finally decode the cryptic map his master left behind. Plus, it might be the only way to bypass his absolute trash RNG. He knows rare drops like blue stones are basically impossible with his cursed luck. But right now, it is pure grinding time. He dives straight into a pack of black wild bears, ready to paint the forest red. He is planning to power level like a maniac. As the beasts rush him, he obliterates the entire mob in a heartbeat. Suddenly, a system notification pops up. He just unlocked a new ability, Unordinary Powerful Fist. He pauses, wondering if this is the game changer he needs for hunting. But after reading the fine print, he realizes the irony. The skill literally nerfs his own damage output, guaranteeing the monsters survive with a sliver of health. Most players would rage, but he starts vibing like he just won the lottery. This is the ultimate farming hack. Now he can weaken enemies and let a pet or someone else steal the kill shot to bypass his garbage drop rates. Feeling victorious, he turns to head home, but a chill runs down his spine. A voice creeps up from the shadows. Found you. He freezes. He knows exactly who this is. He spins around, deja vu hitting him hard. This feels just like the last encounter. The mysterious figure steps out, asking if he has any clue how much heat he has brought down. It is Lupin Dahl, the max chaotic criminal, looking ready to kill the guy who framed him for all that chaos. Nobody believes a word Lupin says anymore. He is ranting about the Great Union scumbags while glaring daggers at our MC. He is here to clear his name in blood. Meanwhile, the MC just stares blankly, sensing a thick, nasty aura swirling around this stranger, but having zero clue who he is. Lupin freezes, totally dumbfounded. Is this guy trolling him? Or does he seriously not know who is standing in front of him? Lupin questions if the guy even has a soul left. He is praying it is an act, but the blank look is genuine. The MC just smirks, calling Lupin amusing. That triggers Lupin instantly. Rage flares in his eyes as he snaps, screaming that he is Lupin Dahl, the exact name the MC has been using to commit crimes all over the map. Lupin is here to drag him in and hand-deliver him to the Great Union bastards to show them exactly who is responsible for the mess. Lupin expects him to be on his knees, begging for mercy. But seeing that bored, indifferent expression makes him decide. This identity thief needs to pay in blood. Figuring the kid is paralyzed with fear, Lupin hopes for a surrender. That way, he can just rough him up a bit and spare his life. But the MC just shrugs it off and says, Less yapping, more scrapping. Lupin sighs, calling him a total lunatic. He really did not want to escalate things with another Max Chaotic, but forget it. He engages, charging full throttle. He holds back slightly, hoping not to one-shot the guy so he can administer a proper beatdown. The hit lands square on the MC's chest, and the HP bar barely twitches, a pathetic 3% drop. The MC looks totally unimpressed. This is the legendary criminal everyone fears. Sure, a level 50 is stronger than a level 40, but this is underwhelming. He shifts into a stance, activating that weird new skill he just unlocked. Time to counter. He intentionally nerfs his damage by 90% so he does not accidentally delete this guy from existence. Meanwhile, Lupin panics, thinking the MC is charging up some god-tier ultimate attack. If his hunch is right, this is the same monster who flattened the Great Union Director with one hit. That skill must be broken. It probably has a long charge time and high risk. While Lupin overthinks everything, the MC blurs into motion. He closes the gap instantly, clamping a hand on Lupin's throat and slamming a fist into him before dashing back. He wonders if the punch even connected. Lupin scoffs, claiming he was a split second too slow. His barrier went up, just in time to tank it. The MC clicks, his tongue annoyed he did not get a clean hit. But now he knows Lupin can take a punch. He dials the damage up to 40%. Lupin thinks he is bluffing, just spouting nonsense to stall for a cooldown timer. In a real fight, you do not announce your moves, you just execute them. Convinced the MC is wide open, Lupin charges in like a rabid beast. Big mistake. The MC's fist meets Lupin's face like a freight train, launching him backward. System alerts scream, showing every single one of Lupin's barriers, shattering instantly on impact. Lupin skids to a halt, terrified. He realizes this guy is way more cunning than he thought. That first weak punch was just bait, a test run before the real strike. But the MC still looks unsatisfied, like something is still off. Internal monologue screaming. Blink is a total nightmare to deal with. Man, if only he had the Mind's Eye skill unlocked right now, this would be over. Level 55. It's go time. Rufendal unleashes everything, flooding the battlefield with a suffocating wave of dark aura. This is the finale. He locks in, ready to crush him instantly and haul his living body back to the Union. Eyes narrowed, he recalls the intel. Rufendal isn't done yet. He's holding back a secret ultimate move, Heart Attack. That stance screams it, but he's already got the perfect counterplay lined up. He drops his damage-dampening limiter. The gloves are off. Rufendal sees it and grins, assuming his opponent is finally running on fumes. Big mistake. Roaring like a rabid beast, Rufendal rushes in for the kill. He meets the charge head-on. Impact in 3, 2, 1. Boom! The collision detonates, sending a violent shockwave tearing through the landscape. As the smoke clears, Han looks bored. Rufendal, totally bewildered that he's still standing. He was positive that Heart Attack would be a one-shot kill. His mind races, what kind of monster tanks that, and doesn't even flinch. Meanwhile, Han stares down at the body with a heavy sigh. Total buzzkill. He actually died. Rufendal's consciousness fades, terrified this guy is some hidden martial arts god. But Han, he thinks Rufendal is just faking it for the drama. He realizes that single strike must have nuked all of Rufendal's defensive buffs. Han is scratching his head. Why attack when your shields are down? That's suicide. For a split second, he actually thought Rufendal was a threat. Turns out that ultimate move didn't even shave off 10% of his health bar. Rufendal is dead, but his spirit is hovering right there, listening. He's silently pleading for Han to just shut up already. Han keeps roasting him. Weak damage, he mutters. Why even try a combo when your defense is 0? What an idiot. He wonders how a max-level chaotic player got wiped, with 0 loot drops. Then it clicks. The gear probably shattered during the clash, so there's nothing left to loot. Those sparkly bits earlier, that was his armor. Hearing this, Rufendal's soul basically pukes blood. That gear cost a fortune. Han just shrugs. Figuring broken gear means no drops. Logic checks out. He figures. He's finally ready for the level 50 danger zones. Time to bounce, he thinks. Grinding here is done. Bigger prey awaits. He launches himself away, leaving Rufendal's spirit sobbing in the dirt, cursing him out like a toxic gamer. You bastard, he cries, throwing a spectral tantrum. He's livid that this fake stole his identity. He swears on his grave he'll get payback and smash Han's smug face in. He triggers Soulbind for an instant respawn and dives for his corpse. Blocked. A cloaked figure steps out of the shadows. Ooh, premium crafting material, the stranger whispers. Hood up, face hidden. The guy geeks out over finding such a high-tier body. Talk about lucky RNG. Rufendal panics. Who is this creep and what's he planning? The stranger flicks his wrist and yoink snatches the soul right out of the air. He mutters, shame I missed the other guy. But you'll work. Cold energy radiates as he begins the ritual to twist Rufendal into a mindless corpse puppet. System alert. You are permanently bound. Escape is impossible. The hooded guy smirks. Drop and give me 10. Now. Rufendal is insulted. Like hell he will, but the soul bind kicks in, frying his nerves with voltage until his body moves on its own. He's doing push-ups in the dirt while the stranger cackles, warning him that disobedience equals torture. Rufendal's mind races. What is soulbind? It's not in the database. Gotta be a hidden class. Necromancer. And wait, the voice. This kid is young. The stranger roasts him for being weak. Rufendal's gears start turning. Maybe he can manipulate this kid. If he plays it smart. He forces a grin. Yes, master, he says, immediately bringing up Han. Eyes glowing with malice, he offers a deal. I can help you catch that other guy. Meanwhile, scene switch. Han is at McDonald's with his sis. Her face lights up burgers, exactly what she wanted. She shyly asks for 2, maybe 3. Han grins like a goofball, eyeing the food like it's legendary loot, before inhaling them. Feeding demons was a nightmare, but feeding his sister, easiest quest ever. He watches her eat. She pauses, blinking. Why is her brother suddenly acting so wholesome? Used to be, he'd flip his lid if she grabbed more than 1 burger. Now, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. She shoots him a skeptical look, asking if his wallet suddenly got heavy. Han just blinks, totally clueless about the guilt trip. He clears his throat, shifting gears. He needs a solid, and he needs it now. She figures he's broke and looking for a handout again. But Han drops the bomb. His luck has been absolute trash lately. Not just with monsters, but his loot drops are non-existent. Sure, being max chaotic means some NPCs are simpatico, but wrangling them into being actually useful right now, a total nightmare. Raising a pet in this dumpster fire is a no-go. He pauses for dramatic effect, then hits her with the pitch. How about they launch an entire foundation together? She almost sprays her drink in his face, staring at him like he grew a second head. Is he actually for real right now? Who even does that in this economy? But Han cuts her off. It's not the kind of corporate suit and tie gig she's picturing. She drops some hard truths. Unless he's got insider intel or deep pockets, the Great Union is going to gobble them up. Especially with those black monsters swarming everywhere. The market is straight up crashing. She reminds him he's due for a promotion anyway, so stressing about rent or cash, that's yesterday's problem. She tells him to pump the brakes and actually think. Han nods, appearing to soak in the lecture. But he's not backing down. He's got an offer she can't refuse. She lets out a heavy sigh, bracing herself. All right, spill it. Han starts laying out the master plan. Meanwhile, over at Union HQ, the vibe is grim. The director drops the body count. Players are getting deleted left and right out in the dark wilderness. He notes that Max Chaotic swore he wouldn't PK unless someone started it first. The Union leader interrupts, cutting the excuses. They already blasted a PSA, telling everyone to steer clear of the gearless Max Chaotic. But the director's skeptical, the guy in the viral clip. He doesn't think that's Rufendal. He pulls up a leaked video file footage of Han throwing hands in the wild, secured just a few days back. Max Chaotic engaged in a straight-up 1 versus 1 PvP. The leader gives the director props for snagging such gold-tier intel. The director critiques the play going on the offensive was a rookie mistake. Once his shield shattered, the kid fought like a cornered animal. Something about it felt wrong. Frame-by-frame analysis confirms it. Han's a god-tier close combat specialist. Martial arts level, insane. The kicker, he looks barely old enough to drive. Director's betting on a hidden class. But looking at that raw, reckless power, the kid definitely hasn't mastered the controls yet. Then comes the curveball. While digging for dirt, they triggered a step-up quest from a noble NPC. The leader leans in intrigued. What's the catch? The director slides a photo across the table. The leader's face dark. This dude looks literally nothing like the footage. The director nods, confirming he double-checked the intel with the VIP nobles. Apparently, the system slapped the Max Chaotic label on this guy, Ramthedian, meaning wiping him off the map permanently shatters the curse. The director claps back, insisting it is way smarter to hunt a target they actually have data on, instead of chasing phantoms in the dark. The boss just shrugs it off. As long as we secure the stable points, who cares? He glances over, asking how much muscle the director needs for the hit. 30 bodies, the director smirks, fully planning to toss their lowest-tier grunts onto the front lines as literal meat shields to drain the target's stamina. The payout, a measly 100,000 won, for the poor souls who get wiped out, while the MVP hitters bag a sweet 300,000 won bonus. One girl raises an eyebrow, questioning if that spare change is actually worth risking a permanent game over. Because getting flatlined inside Olympus. Yeah, the agony translates 100% to real life. The director brushes off her anxiety, hyping up the step-up points and weaponizing their guild's blind loyalty. He is dead certain the grunts will throw themselves into the meat grinder. He caps off his speech with some toxic hustle culture garbage about grinding. While you are young, the leader just laughs it off, agreeing that 300,000 won is plenty of bait, especially since the target has a massive 700 million gold bounty hovering over his head. The director is secretly plotting to skim a cool 200 million right into his own pockets. The boss greenlights the op, totally convinced. 3 million is more than enough budget. He literally does not give a single damn about the body count, as long as his bank account skyrockets. This absolute psychopath wraps up the meeting with a bone-chilling smirk. Cut to the freezing Lepnia Mountains, where Zia finally zeroes in on her brother's location. Han's face instantly glows when he spots her, immediately demanding if she smuggled in the loot he asked for. She nods, but you can see the heavy skepticism painted all over her face. She stares at the stash, wondering how these trash-tier books qualify as study material. They are literally the most basic starter magic guides in existence. We are talking spells so weak that even absolute noob mages would laugh at them. On top of that, she figures grinding for new skills is totally useless when you are right in the middle of a class awakening. With his completely broken stats, dude should have locked in his main class an eternity ago. He just hits her with a classic quote, asking if she knows the saying, "Give a true swordmaster a literal blade of grass, and they will still slice you to ribbons." She blinks, totally clueless. He smirks, explaining that it is the exact vibe they are going for. When your base stats are straight up god tier, even a pathetic auto attack transforms into an ultimate nuke. He then speedruns the entire mountain of beginner textbooks, downloading every single skill into his brain in literal minutes. He sighs, feeling a bit tragic that a guy with his godly specs is out here role-playing as a discount one-punch man. Suddenly, reality smacks Zia in the face. He still has not picked his class. The realization hits her so hard, she gets verbal whiplash. He just shrugs, pointing out that is exactly what he has been trying to tell her. She immediately goes into full meltdown mode, pacing like a maniac, trying to compute how a guy with universe-breaking power is still technically jobless. Life is officially rigged. She straight up abandoned her cushy guild gig because she bet everything on his potential, and this guy is still rocking the unemployed title. Her brain simply stops processing the absurdity. She glares at him, muttering that he better take full responsibility for her future, since she just went all in on his crazy schemes. Han already knows the massive sacrifice she made, and beneath his casual attitude, he is genuinely insanely grateful for her trust. His ultimate goal, resurrecting the fallen Han family legacy together. To test his new toys, he casually throws a rookie healing spell straight at his sister. She rolls her eyes so hard, she sees her brain convinced this pathetic level 1 magic will not even scratch her lingering debuffs. But he tells her to hold up and watch. In seconds, the basic heal forces her flesh to weave back together flawlessly. Even so, her skeptic mode is still fully activated, and she asks to chug an HP potion just to be safe. Han smirks and tells her to check her status window. Her jaw practically hits the floor when she sees her health bar shining bright green, completely maxed out. Her brain totally short-circuits trying to process the math. Without missing a beat, he follows up by slinging a massive attack and defense buff her way, hyping her up to test drive her newly juiced stats. She glances around, utterly lost. Who the hell is she supposed to punch out here? She figures she should go hunt down some low-tier skeleton mob. Instead, Han casually points over her shoulder. "No need to go looking," he says. She whips around, and her soul almost leaves her body as she locks eyes with an absolute unit of a black bear. This is not some fancy magical summon. It is a massive, snarling predator charging straight at her. Pure, unfiltered panic freezes her in place, as she mentally screams, wondering if her psycho brother seriously expects her to solo a boss-level threat that usually requires a full, geared-up raiding party. Flash forward exactly 3 minutes, against all odds, she actually manages to flatline the beast. Sweating, she declares this entire situation. Completely unhinged, yet undeniably badass. He hits her with an "I told you so" smirk, asking if the trust issues are finally cured. She nods, fully converted, especially after digging a glowing blue core out of the bear's carcass, a sweet drop that could easily fetch 5 million won on the black market. He drops a reality check fencing that to the official union would only net her a pathetic 100,000 won cut, but since they are playing the rogue freelancer route now, every single penny of that loot stays in their pockets. He then reveals his next master plan, power leveling her straight to level 45, deep inside the field of darkness. She is totally game, so the duo rolls out. The second they step into the zone, he casually strolls through the danger like he owns the place, while a literal stampede of aggroed monsters trails right behind him. Zia jumps into action, speed chanting her incantations. She unleashes devastating magic right into the herd of charging chaos cows, nuking them with a massive lightning bolt, while he plays the ultimate tanking bait. He shouts out a casual, "nice shot," as glowing blue loot stones practically rain from the sky. They manage to hoard a massive stash of 18 stones. Her eyes practically turn into dollar signs, letting out a massive squeal at the insane payday ahead. We're talking 90 million won. She playfully flexes that with that kind of cash she could straight up launch her own burger franchise. He sweeps his gaze across the barren landscape, sensing an eerie quiet. His mind races. Did a dark tier beast start dropping into this zone? Because this farming spot used to be packed tight. Out of absolutely nowhere, a duo of rogue players jump them from the shadows. They're itching to bag that massive max chaotic bounty, but our boy barely breaks a sweat, effortlessly swatting one away like a pesky mosquito, while keeping his true stats heavily nerfed. He's deliberately serving them up on a silver platter, so his sister can snag the final strike and vacuum up their drops just like their last run. She easily drops the attacker and snatches the shiny loot. Pausing for a second, she genuinely questions if they just committed highway robbery. He immediately shuts down her guilt trip. As long as the server assumes he's just a trash tier, max chaotic, nobody with half a brain is going to try and test him. But if they do, he's ready to obliterate them on sight. Tilting his chin forward, he motions toward a literal legion, storming right in their direction. Her eyes lock onto this heavily armored dude radiating hardcore veteran energy, easily hovering around level 50, commanding a massive strike force. The horrifying truth smacks her right in the face. This entire mob pulled up specifically to hunt her brother down, a fact he casually nods to. Full-blown panic sets in. She begs him to dip before they get wiped, but he knows escaping is completely off the table. She practically hyperventilates in pure terror. Right on cue, a glowing red system prompt brutally locks them in. Combat mode engaged, no logging out until every last hostile drops dead. He bluntly tells her to chill out, promising he's got this totally under control. Motioning with his hand, he orders her to fall back into the safe zone, just to make sure nobody aggroes onto her. A deeply psychotic smirk creeps across his face as he stares down the ocean of attackers. All these sweaty tryhards showing up just to jump one guy. He openly declares a truce. If they keep their weapons sheathed, they get to keep their lives. The guild commander spins around, rallying his troops and marking our boy as the ultimate max chaotic target. Ripping his blade from its scabbard, he barks at the squad to stick to the raid strategy and clear his attack radius. Turns out this arrogant shot caller is an executive director who goes by Jin. His backline casters start rapid firing, a crowd control hex to root our hero to the ground. But instead of fear, utter boredom washes over the protagonist's face. He literally offered them a free pass to walk away breathing. Sadly, diplomacy was never an option for these guys. In a split second, he shatters the magic chains like cheap glass and hurls a roaring fireball straight into their ranks. Jin just rolls his eyes, scoffing at such a basic starter spell. The commander barks at his front line to pop their defensive barriers. Jin is totally convinced that even if the spell hits hard, their target is just a brawler, blindly spamming magic, making those pathetic flames completely useless. He queues up his damage dealers, ordering them to chain their stuns the exact second the smoke clears. Every single player on that field is absolutely foaming at the mouth for that 3,000,001 prize pool, falling in line like a pack of trained dogs. Meanwhile, our guy just stares blankly, genuinely trying to remember which guild he's about to wipe out today. The last raid party was led by some dude named Rufundle. Boom! A catastrophic blast absolutely obliterates the battleground. Jin barely clings to his health bar, hacking up dust as his brain tries to process the sheer destruction. His entire massive raid squad, completely flatlined. He rapidly blinks his mind, short-circuiting at the sight of his elite forces, turned into glowing respawn dust. All from a supposed physical brawler chucking a tutorial-level fire trick. Screaming for a full retreat, he desperately tries to calculate the math behind this absolute bloodbath. Cold sweat drips down his face. Is this monster actually a hidden magic class? No, the stats just don't add up. Because if he was genuinely a top-tier caster, those low-level root mechanics wouldn't have even scratched his resistance bar. But the most terrifying part, the guy hasn't moved a single inch from where he spawned. Jin's survival instincts kick in, screaming at him to pull the plug and bolt. Our overpowered protagonist stays completely silent before casually muttering that basically anything gets one-shotted if his spell connects. His sister aggressively nods along, swearing on her life she's never seen a basic flame attack nuke a zone like that. He just shrugs, totally clueless about his own broken damage output. Squinting, she assumes the root spell is still holding him down from the initial ambush, but he casually brushes it off, confirming he broke out ages ago. Completely baffled, she yells out, asking why on earth he's just planted there like a statue. He drops the most disrespectful excuse ever. He was just too busy catching up with her. Plus, he's still locked behind that annoying spell timer. He really wants to spam it a few more times, just to see what else he can break on these absolute bozos. As a deeply menacing final boss-level chuckle escapes his lips, his sister just stares, completely paralyzed by the sheer flex. It finally clicks. Her dorky older brother has officially morphed into an untouchable god-tier player. While the enemy commander is having a full-blown meltdown, Han literally lets out a massive, exhausting yawn. Dude looks like he's ready to take a nap right in the middle of a war zone. Checking his interface, he realizes the spell lock is finally lifted, groaning internally. Waiting 60 entire seconds for a single cast is genuinely testing his patience. Over on the enemy lines, the panicked director is frantically rallying his snipers, barking at them to lock their crosshairs and hold for the green light. The poor guy is flying completely blind right now. His brain is doing backflips, paranoid that Han pulled a fast one and secretly spec'd into a pure sorcery build. Cut to a completely different sector of the server. Another massive guild boss picks up a frantic voice comms ping. It's Jin screaming through the mic and begging for immediate reinforcements, because the situation just went totally nuclear. Sweating bullets, he frantically explains that their intel was garbage. Han isn't running a brawler class at all. They desperately need level 30 plus heavy tanks, with massive magic resist stats dropped in immediately. The rival leader just blinks at his screen, utterly confused, demanding to know what kind of disaster class is unfolding over there. Jin grimly admits 3 of their elite guys are already permanently offline, but he falsely reassures him, claiming the psycho is still chained up in a crowd control trap. Even with that cooldown locking him down, this dude knows they gotta wrap this up yesterday, before Han turns the rest of his crew into absolute dust. The Union boss realizes their intel was total garbage, but honestly, he could not care less, just brushing it off as Han, having way more brain cells than they banked on. He orders Jin to hold the line since backup is already rolling in, figuring that even if they gotta slice up the bounty later, flooding the zone with extra bodies is 100% the play right now. Cutting back to the bloodbath, Jin screams at his archers to lock and load. Since Han is still visibly frozen by the hex, this absolute clown jumps to the galaxy brain conclusion that our boy is just a squishy mage. Convinced this is their ultimate window, he signals the firing squad, but Han just drops the most diabolical smirk. The second vanguard unloads their firearms, while wave number 3 makes it rain arrows, triggering a colossal, earth-shattering blast that completely torches the battleground. Jin is out here barking at his grunts to spam their attacks, completely desperate to deny Han any breathing room. In his mind, this strategy is cooking. He literally does not care what class Han is rocking, as long as they can keep him trapped in the crossfire and absolutely suffocating under the DPS. A twitchy grin creeps onto his face as he copes, praying that if the RNG gods bless them, they might actually shred half of Han's health bar before the Union cavalry arrives. But suddenly, Han bursts through the smoke like an absolute missile, and literally decapitates a frontline guard, leaving Jin completely paralyzed with shock, his brain totally short-circuiting at the slaughter. Han was meant to be CC locked, but here he is tearing through them like a feral predator, loudly declaring that his cooldown timer just hit 0. He proceeds to body the infantry left and right, casually spamming these gnarly fireballs he just leveled up. Jin is absolutely shrieking for someone to tank him. Han just chilly reminds the squad that he gave them a chance to bounce, and now they gotta pay the ultimate price. He goes full goblin mode, shredding through armor like he is just speedrunning a tutorial level. While the grunts desperately try to kite backwards, Jin keeps screaming at them to hold the formation instead of folding. Right then, the Union boss materializes behind Jin, tossing him some props for keeping the front line from crumbling and declaring he is taking over the lobby. When Jin asks about the backup roster, the boss reveals he already pinged their entire network. Nuking Han off the map is now their undisputed main objective, so he officially broadcasted a massive party invite. The cavalry is swarming in strictly because he dropped a high-tier escalation quest. While Han is literally standing there radiating final boss energy, the Union leader clocks the massive pile of bodies he just stacked, in record time. But with 200 bodies flooding the zone, he is dead convinced they are completely unkillable. He tells Jin to stop sweating it. Meanwhile, Han is just looking at his health bar, realizing it has not dropped a single pixel. Because these NPCs are literal fodder compared to Rufundle, his passive healing is practically glitching, making all their damage output entirely irrelevant. He lets out a dark little laugh, realizing just how much of a unit Rufundle actually was, before flashing a wildly toxic grin. He thinks to himself that mopping the floor with 200 scrubs is going to be an absolute breeze. Over on the sidelines, his sister is spectating this complete bloodbath, stressing over whether her brother is actually surviving. Out of nowhere, Han yells at her to aggro him too. She hits him with the ultimate side-eye, but he just wants her to fake some friendly fire, so she does not look totally sus, just AFKing there. She deadass asks if she should just nuke him with a lightning strike. He gives her the green light, so she literally shrugs, says bet, and calls down the thunder on her own sibling. Right as a massive system alert flashes in his face, he screams for her to pause so he can read. But he is already getting deep fried by her magic. The prompt loudly declares that Han just unlocked a completely busted exclusive class. He blanks for a second, totally clueless about what kind of buff this is. The system announces he has hit absolute peak chaos energy. Because his killer stigma has been turning pitch black, he knew an evolution was coming, but he definitely did not expect this massive jump scare. The interface literally morphs his status into a divine slaughter constellation. With his criminal record going viral across the entire map, his stats go completely through the roof, his eyes lighting up like a demon. He pulls up his achievement tab, which literally brands him the most vile executioner, born from raw slaughter aura. Like yeah, the stat boosts are absolutely insane, but being named the continent's ultimate serial killer feels just a bit dramatic. He lets out a sigh, fully realizing he is speedrunning, the pure villain skill tree. While he keeps dropping bodies left and right, he spots that every single digital felony he racks up is basically maxing out his rep with the Sky Devil faction. He also clocks a brand new passive trait that is going to be absolutely cracked whenever he throws down against a legit hero class player. Han is literally theory crafting all of this while casually dicing up the mob in front of him. Meanwhile, these clueless NPCs are having a full meltdown trying to guess if he is a brawler or a mage. They are completely lost in the sauce, having zero idea what flavor of final boss they just aggroed. Han hits them with a menacing smirk and casually flexes that he is literally still classless. Hearing that absolute flex makes the entire squad freeze in pure terror, questioning what kind of freak of nature this dude is. The chief director spins around to President Zhang, asking what the hell their counterplay is. President Zhang realizes the meta just shifted, and things are extremely volatile right now. The boomer instantly assumes Han is just gatekeeping his real build, so they cannot counter his kit, well aware that every single job path has a massive Achilles heel. The president signals Director Jin to back him up, completely convinced they can crush Han themselves. He loses his mind, screaming at Han, and branding him a literal trash-tier criminal. He promises to drag out Han's deepest weaknesses and utterly delete his existence. Yeah, right. Han absolutely shreds the duo without even breaking a sweat. He flexes casually, dropping the fact that weaknesses just do not exist in his world. Stretching out his muscles in a literal sea of bodies, a random thought suddenly smacks him in the face. His one and only flaw: he is completely lacking any massive area of effect skills. Letting out a heavy sigh, he realizes he needs to hardcore grind his levels and cop a massive spell as soon as possible. Out of nowhere, his sister asks if they can test out some wild theories together. He arches an eyebrow, totally suspicious of whatever she is cooking up. She drops a bomb, guessing he might have accidentally unlocked a hidden ultra-rare class quest. The duo marches straight into a dungeon zone. Warning him to brace for impact, she starts stacking up heavy buffs. Boom! She blasts him with raw lightning, and wildly enough, it actually chips away a sliver of his health bar. For the first time in forever, genuine pain flares up. He realizes her strike hits almost as hard as Rufundel's ultimate finisher. Once she maxes out her buffs, even though the agony is next level, his health regeneration is straight up broken. He starts thinking it is actually borderline impossible for him to catch a game over. Meanwhile, she is relentlessly spamming crazy combos at him, totally refusing to back down. She just keeps nuking him with heavy magic. Right as his health flashes red and he is inches from actually dying, she completely passes out from mana drain. The system suddenly flashes his awakened identity, the heavenly murderous constellation. It literally took an entire hour of non-stop grinding just to drop his health points that low. Homeboy is way too exhausted to hype up his sick new title. He figures it was just the final boss stage of this crazy quest chain, and honestly, he nailed it. The murderous constellation era has officially begun. When creepy mobs start swarming their location, he steps up to wipe the floor with them. He tells his passed-out sister to stay put. Suddenly, the interface starts spamming wild, glitchy notifications. Deep down, she already knows. He is pretending this massive power spike is no big deal, but she watches him effortlessly decimate the skeleton horde anyway. Feeling bold, he decides to dive deeper into the abyss. Giving her a heads up, he tells her to just shoot him a text if things go south. He gives a quick nod right as a massive system alert pops up for her, confirming the heavenly murderous constellation has exited the zone. Why? Because she secretly crushed the hidden final quest conditions. Blinding light engulfs her body as insane power surges through her veins. In a flash of pure energy, she evolves directly into the 7th constellation. Han just stands there totally baffled by what the heck went down. Meanwhile, miles away, his sister fully embraces her godly new transformation. As the interface aggressively stacks broken new skills onto her profile, she is absolutely speechless at the crazy power creep. Cut back to reality. Inside a tense union boardroom, Effort Giver, the guild president, offers a stiff nod, thanking everyone for logging off and showing up in person. He officially claims the throne as the grand leader of their alliance. With a heavy sigh, he apologizes for dragging them out to a real-life meetup. But he cuts the small talk immediately. Their entire faction is drowning in absolute chaos. It turns out that the ultra-hyped Max Chaotic Red Raid ended in a catastrophic fail, thanks to a completely random intel blackout. The fallout: massive trading guilds instantly ghosted them. The alliance is left bleeding and broke. To stop the bleeding, a massive purge of their current members is incoming. The room erupts into furious whispers. Everyone starts fiercely trashing the chaotic punk who triggered this whole dumpster fire. They secretly bet their leader is severely cracking under the insane pressure. But suddenly, a totally unhinged smirk creeps onto his face. The truth: every single piece of this disaster is playing out exactly according to his master plan. He offers a slick formal apology, announcing they are indefinitely freezing the failed quest. He openly admits he has zero clue when they will ever beat it, but swears on his life that once they do, every single survivor will secure massive step-up points. He figures tossing them that juicy bait will keep the dogs at bay for now. He wraps up by hoping their next meetup pops off with way better vibes and a heavily fortified alliance, knowing damn well there is an endless queue of tryhards begging to join the manipulative old dude. Does not lose a single wink of sleep over mass kicking people. His only real focus, doing massive damage control with those elite trading companies before everything completely tanks. Sinking deep into his plush massage chair, he preps his dive back into Olympus. He stews over the fact that none of this messy drama would even be happening if that monster had just died in the dungeon alongside his goons. Trying to salvage a completely nuked reputation is always a massive headache. Still, he is fully ready to roll the dice. Wiping that arrogant bastard off the server is their one and only ticket to reviving the Alliance's glory. Even if it forces him to burn the 1 billion gold he and the corrupt board directors embezzled. Phasing into the virtual world of Olympus, his mind races. A bounty that massive has to be enough to completely erase Han from existence. The moment his avatar spawns into the city, he ghosts straight into a shady tavern. The bartender drops a polite nod, clearly digging for intel on why a VIP is slumming it today. The twisted old guy slides a hit list photo across the sticky counter, demanding an assassination contract for the Murder Veil Guild. The fixer squints at the picture. He raises an eyebrow, instantly recognizing how insanely broken the target is. But with a cocky shrug, he guarantees Murdervale can execute the job. Then he demands the bag. Without even blinking, the president dumps an insane 1 billion gold straight on the table. The fixer smirks, claiming 3 days is all they need to bury the kid. The old man already knows the stakes. Murdervale and Black Floral Group run the entire Empire's underground as the most lethal assassin syndicates alive. That max chaotic edgelord is about to get utterly deleted. Dumping 1 billion gold in a single transaction physically makes him sick to his stomach, but he copes by imagining the massive payout. Once Han is a rotting corpse, they will farm back 7 times that amount while step-up points literally rain from the sky. Stepping out of the safe zone and into the wide open is his ultimate galaxy brain play. Now, he literally just has to survive out here for 72 hours. Except the absolute second, his boot crunches on the forest floor, a shadow blurs past, completely detaching his head from his shoulders and sending him straight to the lobby. Fading to black, it slowly clicks that he just got assassinated. His brain is entirely short-circuiting though, because his radar did not pick up a single ounce of killing intent. Right on cue, a translucent system window flashes in his vision, letting him know he is stuck hovering around as a literal phantom until he completely logs out. Spinning his spectral camera around, he spots this masked dude, totally unbothered, casually tossing down a paper slip stamped with the infamous Black Floral Group logo. He just floats there, blinking in pure confusion, trying to connect the dots on why this elite hit squad just put a bounty on his head. The masked assassin drops a cold one-liner, promising this is merely the prologue of his execution orders. Smash cut over to the ultra-grim Murdervale headquarters. An underling is sweating bullets while updating his boss, confirming he outsourced the hit to the floral crew exactly as instructed. His superior smirks, fully convinced their target is already pushing up daisies. A seriously sinister grin creeps across the boss's face. The time has finally arrived for him to step out of the shadows and personally execute this wild agenda. His lackey mumbles that they could have easily clapped the old guy in house. Instantly, the big boss rises from his throne. A suffocating pitch-black pressure explodes from his body, freezing the oxygen in the room. He snarls at the lackey to zip it and fall in line unless he wants his free trial of living cancelled right here and now. The crimson-haired shot caller practically shatters the floorboards just by flexing his monstrous energy. He barks out a brutal declaration. He is taking this specific bounty into his own hands and orders his guy to broadcast the news everywhere. The minion lets out a ragged, trembling breath, thanking his lucky stars he did not just get decapitated. Striding out into the open air, the red-haired tyrant gets completely lost in his own hype. It is showtime for the ultimate menace, absolute evil Han. For 3 solid decades, this guy has sat untouched at the peak as the mastermind behind Murdervale. Through all those gritty years, dodging death, that flawless final boss energy he has been desperately craving is still missing a few puzzle pieces. He guesses the system is probably gating his power behind hidden restrictions, but he is fully ready to tear down those walls himself. Going by the title Second Elder Yorhan, this absolute unit intends to give Han an up-close and personal vibe check, seeing if the dude actually deserves the crown of absolute ruler. Cut to an entirely different vibe. Han is literally glitching out in shock after clocking that his little sister has already bulldozed her way to level 30. She hits him with this massive smug grin. She flexes how ever since she bagged that class upgrade, her experience bar has been printing levels like an infinite money glitch. Bragging hard, she announces she is now officially the 7th constellation. Rocking the pure white mage title, she has straight up cracked level 31. He tries to reality check her about having 0 step-up points left in the bank, but she brushes the warning off like dust on her shoulder. According to her, those points are basically irrelevant trash-tier mechanics now that she is sitting comfortably in a god-tier constellation seat. Internally, she is totally geeking out, finally understanding why gamers grind their sanity away for secret class changes. The sheer power trip is insanely addicting. Despite the massive ego boost, she drops a genuine thank you, totally aware she never would have pulled off this insane speedrun without his carry. His brain is doing gymnastics, realizing she likely triggered the evolution condition literally just by landing a single attack on him. If his mere existence hands out buffs like that, his villain status is off the charts. She casually suggests they party up for a raid soon. Panic starts brewing in his chest. If all 7 of these mythical heavyweights can farm levels this effortlessly, completely ignoring the point economy, his endgame survival odds are looking incredibly cooked. The guy literally just wanted a low-key life, filled with elite snacks and zero drama. But with this broken scaling, his own sibling hitting the level 99 cap is basically a guaranteed prophecy at this point. Because she was rolling with his squad back in that massive Dark Zone domain expansion, he forcefully equips her with some heavy-duty perception-blocking gear. This lets him slide into her direct voice lines securely, totally bypassing the world chat that could potentially dox her. Out of nowhere, she sweetly asks if she can just keep casually smacking him, with magic blasts for passive farming. Right on cue, a glowing system prompt violently hijacks his vision. It blasts a red alert that she just evolved into a legit platinum-tier hero. He mentally facepalms, realizing that if she is hitting platinum just by scratching his health bar, it is going to attract a tsunami of sweaty tryhards tracking his every move. He gives her the green light to keep using him as a punching bag, but seriously begs her to chill and not accidentally send him to the respawn screen. Her face absolutely radiates joy. But then that smile twists into something totally unhinged as she casually jokes about hoping to claim his final boss, Kill out in the wild one day. After all, just bullying him has already power leveled her stats to the moon. With a legit yandere glint flashing in her irises, she straight up asks for permission to end his life. Sweating drops of pure stress, he furiously reminds her they share the same DNA. She fires back with the ultimate gamer logic. It is just a simulation, and they can totally split his drop pool 50-50. Giving up on the argument, he sighs and promises that if his HP ever hits absolute 0, she gets first dibs on the execution. Getting the official stamp to assassinate her own flesh and blood has her bouncing off the walls with hype. He only caved because a tiny part of him is morbidly curious, but deep down, he is desperately wondering why the hell his sister is so hyped about permanently deleting him. Pushing the terrifying, intrusive thoughts away, he decides to just focus on the massive win of seeing her absolutely glowing with that new constellation aura. Fast forward a few cycles, and she effortlessly curb stomps another Blackbeard mob, like it is literally nothing. The dynamic duo speedruns the rest of the dungeon instance, barely even dropping a bead of sweat. He hoovers up some ultra-rare boss loot and demands she guards the inventory with her life, firing up his holographic character sheet. He hopes to finally see that level-up animation, only to realize he is literally 1 pixel short on the experience bar. It is the absolute peak of gaming frustration. Deciding to grind out a few more trash mobs to cross the threshold, he sends her back to town for a massive potion and gear restock. He gives her a stern warning to keep her guard up and protect their high-tier bag at all costs. Shrugging off his nagging, she flashes a peace sign and teleports out. Checking his watch, he figures he has a solid 10-minute window of solo grinding ahead. Racking up enough monster kills before the clock runs out is his golden ticket to leveling up. Suddenly, a suffocating pressure drops the temperature to freezing. A cold voice slices the silence as Johann, the absolute ruler of the Sky Devil, spawns literally on top of him. Cold steel presses against his jugular. The guy casually drops his title as the second elder and announces that it is game over for our boy. It is a lethal pop quiz to prove he actually deserves the absolute ruler crown. One wrong move means he gets packed up in a body bag on the spot, and the Murdervale faction is itching to drop a bounty on his head the second he slips. Right on cue, the system chimes with a fresh objective. Difficulty rating, a solid SSS for surviving Johann's sneak attack. Red warnings flood his vision as the interface screams danger, reminding him that out of all 12 Sky Devil elders, this dude is the undisputed goat of staying off the radar and slitting throats. So the mission is painfully simple. Clap the second elder and force him to put some respect on Han's name. But another notification flashes, heavily implying that failing to impress this overpowered assassin will plunge him into a bottomless pit of absolute misery. Han does the math in his head. Sure, this is just a side mission branching off the main Absolute Ruler storyline, but that SSS rank is no joke. Factoring in how his psycho sister literally unlocked God-tier constellation status just by beating the crap out of him, it is looking extremely likely that he is meant to be the final boss of this universe. And if the other constellations are skipping the whole grinding phase, just like she did, they are probably scaling at light speed with totally busted skills. We are talking easily smashing past level 90 without breaking a sweat. If things go totally south, and he gets forced into a solo deathmatch against the entire pantheon of constellations, the system spamming him with ultra-impossible quests is just its twisted way of keeping the power scaling from breaking. Sweating bullets, he shifts his gaze to Johann, who coldly orders him to draw his blade. Han instantly realizes he is getting totally played here. The assassin already knows damn well our guy is completely unarmed. Why the hell does he even need to jump through hoops for this shadow ninja? Johan just stares back deadpan waiting for the punchline. Han quickly pieces it together. If Johan genuinely wanted to pack him up, he would not be standing here yapping. This proves the assassin is just another diehard simp, praying for the Sky Devil's grand return. Honestly, it tracks perfectly for a zealot like him. Switching gears, Han bluffs, reminding the assassin about a super-secret restriction he is dealing with. A seal that is supposedly seconds away from breaking. Watching Johan slowly sheath his dagger, Han leans into the act, admitting his current stats are absolute trash. He plays the victim card, whining that shattering this massive handicap takes forever. He drops some heavy lore, guessing the whole squad has been desperately waiting for his glorious comeback. If they can just chill for a minute, he promises to ascend to his rightful throne as their supreme overlord. He sells the lie with unbreakable confidence. Then he flips the script, questioning why Johan is so eager to snuff out the only hope they have left. Sure, the elder is impatient, but Han asks if he is really ready to swallow that colossal regret later on. That completely shuts the assassin up. The hesitation in Johan's eyes says it all. The dude is eating up the cap like absolute gospel. Time to go all in and secure the bag. Han acts humble, acknowledging that he probably looks like total fodder at the moment. But he promises that he is about to unleash the legendary heaven-shattering ghost art inherited from his master. He just needs 10 flat minutes. The elder's jaw practically drops as he echoes the sacred technique, desperately asking if Han is actually talking about that mythical martial art. The disbelief is radiating off him. Han keeps a straight face, claiming that if the elder spots him just a fraction of time, he will drop a live demonstration right here. Taking the bait to witness history, Johan fades back into the shadows, granting him exactly 10 minutes to deliver. A holographic timer bursts into view, confirming his 10-minute survival window, courtesy of the assassin's gullibility. A massive breath escapes his lungs as the sheer terror fades, letting him enjoy this temporary stay of execution. His experience bar is sitting right at the edge. He literally just needs to body a couple of low-tier mobs to level up. He ditches the dungeon area, assuming his garbage. -99 luck means creeps usually swarm him like a magnet anyway. This should be a walk in the park. But the instant his boots hit the dirt outside, reality hits him like a freight train. He sprints in circles, staring at a completely barren wasteland, without a single enemy in sight. On any other day, this zone would be crawling with aggro bears or undead skeletons ready to throw hands. Actual tears prick his eyes as he screams at the sky, wondering why the spawn rate decided to flatline during a literal life or death crisis. He absolutely loses it, flaming the universe for ghosting him when he is on the verge of getting packed up. The interface flashes red 30 seconds until his bluff gets called. A dark thought creeps in, maybe squaring up and throwing hands with the elder would have been less pathetic than this. Then, the memory of that razor-sharp dagger pressing against his throat shuts that delusion down real quick. He would have been diced into sashimi. The countdown drops to 20. Pure panic fries his brain as he scrambles to cook up another god-tier lie to stall his execution. But no matter what absolute nonsense he scripts in his head, there is zero chance the assassin falls for round 2. Just as hope vanishes, his little sister explodes onto the scene out of thin air. Screaming that she has been tracking his location, he instantly barks at her to run for her life because this zone is highly lethal, but she just shoots him a totally clueless glare. She sprints straight at him, dragging a massive, earth-shattering mob of furious monsters right behind her. She flexes how she broke her back, dragging this entire mob of monsters right to his doorstep. For a split second, he just stands there, totally dumbfounded, then absolutely loses it, cackling like a total psycho as he launches himself forward. She blinks completely, baffled, watching him blur right past her shoulder. He screams back at her to dip while she can, swearing he will drop a massive payout once the dust settles. He absolutely shreds through the monster wave, turning the horde into confetti, and hitting level 40 literal seconds before the clock runs out. Hitting that sweet level 40 milestone, he instantly pops his skill. Out of nowhere, the second elder spawns right at his back, chill as ever, warning him to keep up the pace. Suddenly, the system interface flashes blind, gold dropping the alert that he smashed the prerequisites and unlocked the heaven-shattering ghost art. A shockwave of pure golden energy blasts outward, locking down his absolute control over the Sky Devil. Plus, his raw physical stats just got a massive god-tier buff. He whispers to himself, realizing that was way too close for comfort, but completely confident that even Johan cannot say a single word against him now. His murderous constellation title officially locks in, leaving him guessing what insane bullshit the system will throw at him next. Without warning, the UI brands him as the absolute evil, unleashing a tidal wave of raw, violent aura. The second elder completely paralyzes the terrifying truth sinking in. This kid is the genuine, undisputed, absolute evil. Our boy chuckles nervously, admitting to himself he saw this plot twist coming from a mile away. But getting stamped with that villain label still hits him with a nasty wave of nausea. He shakes it off and pulls up his stat window. Staring down that absolute evil tag, he watches a ridiculous avalanche of fresh skills pile into his inventory. Realizing the heaven-shattering Ghost Art still has room to evolve, the system chat goes absolutely feral, nuking his screen with crazy broken abilities non-stop. The second elder instantly drops to his knees, slamming his forehead to the dirt, and pleading for mercy for ever doubting his supreme authority. He plays it cool, telling Johann to brush it off, claiming he would have been just as suspicious if the roles were flipped. He acts super relieved to finally be accepted as Johann's master. But behind that chill grin, the guy is plotting hard. He is 100% locked in on stealing the murder veil for his own arsenal. Johann pledges his absolute loyalty, completely securing the quest clear. Mentally patting himself on the back, he knows there is only one more elder standing in his way. He tells Johann he is banking on his support, but chops off his sentence when his sister starts blowing up his direct messages out of nowhere. He instantly checks in to see if she is safe. She completely ignores his concern, telling him to wake up and look at the global feed, asking if he caught that insane server-wide broadcast. He shoots back that the server is losing its mind right now. Apparently, the news just dropped that the absolute evil has officially spawned. The entire player base is having a massive meltdown, sweating blood, trying to dox the absolute evil just to cheese their own quests. She hypes him up, saying if they team up to hunt down this absolute killer, his chaotic penalty will probably get completely wiped out. He cringes super hard inside, considering she is basically plotting to assassinate him right to his digital face. He casually slides in. The fact that his stats already skyrocketed way past 100, all thanks to her carry. She instantly demands to know the exact jump. He drops a super casual 19, absolutely stunning her because grinding out. Even one measly point at this stage is basically impossible. She just deadpans, trying to compute what kind of glitchy nonsense he pulled off this time. She chalks it up to him getting insanely carried by pure RNG while goofing around. She throws him a quick congrats, but you can tell her brain is short-circuiting. Her heart is pounding so violently she feels like she's going to black out, so she straight up rage quits Olympus just to breathe. Back in the real world, she has always known her bro was a total freak of nature, but this is just straight up overkill. She massages her temples and decides to step outside to touch some grass. Meanwhile, back in virtual reality, he realizes he finally broke his unflappable sister. He starts sweating over how he is ever going to explain that he is the server's public enemy #1. Shoving that massive headache aside for later, he redirects his focus to securing that juicy triple S rank quest loot. Giving Johann the green light to proceed, he crosses his fingers for the complete Murder Veil set, knowing that drop would make boxing constellations a total joke and turn him into an absolute money-printing machine. The second elder clears his throat, asking for permission to drop a crucial status update. Our boy gives him a subtle nod to spill it. Johann starts breaking down the deep lore regarding the Murder Veil's current threat level and political standing. But before another syllable drops, a squad of uninvited crashers ruins the moment. The second elder instantly pops stealth mode, while our MC clicks his tongue, supremely pissed off at the interruption. A whole platoon of heavily armored grunts stomps into view, screaming the name Ramptadian at him. The squad captain roars that whoever brings down Ramptadian gets to swim in bounty gold. He glares at them, completely annoyed, wondering why these absolute clowns keep mistaking him for this Ramptadian guy. Letting out a heavy sigh, he realizes these brain-dead NPCs will literally never stop spamming the exact same aggro script. The Vanguard Knight spots Han rolling solo, immediately barking at his troops to blitz Albard and snatch some shiny glory for the Bavaria Order. Han just stands there unbothered, watching this tidal wave of cannon fodder rush him head-on. Once that heaven-shattering ghost art kicks in, the sheer panic radiating off these NPCs is insane. Glancing at this squad, Han just rolls his eyes. Sure, it is his debut fight against actual knights, but come on, these dudes are straight up garbage tier. The whole clash is over in a flash. Total snooze fest. Meanwhile, the commander is literally glitching out. He is practically foaming at the mouth, trying to convince himself. Yeah, Han just solo wiped his entire squad, but the kid has to be running on empty, right? So the knight lunges forward like an absolute psycho, going straight for the chokehold only to hit a totally invisible wall. Han just smirks. Color him impressed. Maybe this bozo is packing some elite tier loot after all. The armored dude really thought our boy was out of mana. Han just hits him with a lazy shrug and absolutely obliterates his skull with a single right hook. Right on cue, a system notification flashes across the screen. Target eliminated, the Viscount of Bavaria. Han just nods to himself. This heaven-shattering ghost art absolutely broken. After all that high-speed carnage, his stamina bar has barely even budged. With the trash taken care of, it is finally time to secure the bag. He drags the second elder back out into the open. Time to keep spilling those secrets. But right when he is about to catch a breather, slow clapping echoes from the shadows. Han immediately glares over his shoulder. Who is dragging him back into combat now? He demands the creep step into the light, revealing some shadowy dude draped in heavy robes. Han cuts straight to the chase. Are you here for my head too? Probably just another bounty hunter wanting a payday, he figures. But the hooded weirdo waves him off. Close but no cigar. He is just here to end his life and make him a permanent minion. To prove it, the freak yanks out Rufendal like a literal meat puppet, flexing his shiny new toy. Boom! Han instantly recognizes the exact jerk who took him out before. He is dead-eyed, staring right through the criminal, while Professor Dally just facepalms super hard in the background. Dally admits their boy really dropped the ball on this one. The hooded menace just smirks completely, agreeing that Han is destined for the leash. Rocking a totally unhinged villain smile, he keeps yapping about hitting the jackpot with these premium free-of-charge bodies. He promises to take super good care of Han once his free will is gone. Then he drops the classic necromancy wake-up spell. And just like that, the entire army Han just wiped out snaps back to life. The Viscount and his fallen knights stagger upright like extras in a horror flick. Realizing this edgelord is a straight-up necromancer, Han watches the zombie squad lock onto him with pure, unfiltered bloodlust. It hits him. This guy is definitely rocking a rare hidden class. These are not your basic brainless zombies. They kept their full personalities and past memories. The craziest part, his usual stat-reading skills are completely glitching out on them. If anything, this undead squad looks way more dangerous now than when they had pulses. The zombified Viscount instantly starts pledging allegiance to the robed freak, bound by some dark soul pact, swearing to lay down his unlife for his new boss. Han quickly realizes this revivability is top-tier, ridiculously overpowered nonsense. The dead noble pivots back to Han, itching for round 2. He is absolutely certain our protagonist is completely cooked this time. But before a single rusted blade can swing, the entire undead army just completely paralyzes. Han tilts his head, wondering what is glitching out their system. Cue the system notification dropping massive lore. Thanks to his absolute evil title, Han basically has VIP override codes for anything related to dark magic. His new ghost art is completely hijacking the necromancer's signal. The hooded edgelord starts sweating buckets, utterly baffled as to why his meat puppets are offline. He is screaming out attack commands, but it is totally pointless. Han just snatched the admin privileges right out from under him. Stacking that absolute evil buff with his overwhelming ghost art aura, even Han is a little stunned. He realizes these zombies will literally follow his every whim. Already entirely over this whole encounter, he casually orders the entire squad to just drop dead. Again. Rufendal suddenly realizes he is about to get dusted twice while his so-called master is having a full-blown meltdown. Han just flashes a wicked grin. Yep, Rufendal is officially part of the zombie club. Testing out his shiny new authority, he realizes Rufendal is totally chained to his command. So he orders the guy to start doing some aggressive jumping jacks. The guy tries to fight the command, but a massive surge of purple lightning zaps through his limbs, forcing him to bounce around like a total circus clown. The necromancer is just frozen in place, totally clueless on how to fix this disaster. Han slowly locks eyes with the guy and casually asks for his age. The kid actually stammers out that he is 19, instantly regretting it. Han just shakes his head brutally, letting him know his zombie army is pure garbage. So what is the master plan now? Just to clear the air, Han drops a casual reminder that he only deletes people who actually swing at him first. The teen instantly starts pleading for his life. Catching Han in a rare good mood, he gets a dismissive hand wave, and the punk sprints off into the distance like a track star. Then Han pivots his focus right back to his former killer. Rufendal starts sweating buckets, desperately backpedaling and claiming the whole murder thing was just a big misunderstanding. Flipping the script at lightning speed, the zombie starts calling Han boss, promising to be his faithful little guard dog if he just gives him a chance. Han lays down the ultimate ground rule. One wrong move, one hint of betrayal, and he is getting permanently deleted from existence. Rufendal nods frantically, completely understanding the stakes. A wicked smile spreads across Han's face. Guess he does not need to shop for a new combat pet after all. Cut to the real world. A player aggressively logs out of Olympus and rips off her headset, literally trembling from head to toe. She is totally hyperventilating about how monstrous that dude was in-game. Honestly, she is just thrilled she did not get caught in the crossfire. The sheer power scaling is still completely melting her brain. Getting flexed on in necromancy, impossible. Wait, could he be the legend her master hyped up? Her sensei dropped a heavy prophecy back in the day. The absolute monarch of this realm would eventually drop in. And when he did, she had to bow down and pledge loyalty, so he could steamroll the competition and conquer the whole continent. Is this guy actually the prophesied sovereign, destined to rule it all? A quick glance at her phone shatters the epic moment. She spots the time drops, a quiet curse about running behind, and sprints off. Cut back to the game. The second elder materializes out of nowhere, hitting him with a classic, "Wait, there's more," bringing up two massive secrets he left out. Han low-key respects the boomer's relentless grind, so he shoots him a look and tells him to spit it out fast, before another random NPC crashes the party. The elder dives straight into spilling the tea on the Murder Veil faction. We are talking about two S-tier shadow stalkers, who could casually wipe out elite Imperial VIPs, 20 A-tier lethal operatives, 100 B-tier hitmen, and an absolute army of C-tier grunts that aren't even worth doing the math for. Wannabes are literally begging to join the syndicate, getting packed up and dying just to pass the trials. Oh, and rumor has it, this Shadow Guild has noble VIPs in their pocket all over the map. After 30 years of running the underworld, they have hoarded 2 billion gold for operations plus a casual 4 billion in private stash, bringing the grand total to a mind-blowing 6 billion gold. And now that entire vault is legally his. The screen flashes the impossible quest to win over the second elder is officially crushed, securing him that sweet 6 billion gold payout. He is hyped, but his brain is literally buffering, trying to process that kind of generational wealth. His jaw almost drops, but he instantly slaps on an icy poker face so the old man does not catch him slipping. Giving a slight nod, Han acknowledges his absolute devotion. To reward him, he greenlights the elder to hold on to 2 billion gold just to keep the syndicate's gears turning. As for the remaining 4 billion, he smoothly claims it will fund both the Shadow Guild and the Sky Devil Syndicate. This pure boss energy has Johan literally tearing up, pledging his undying loyalty on the spot. Internally, Han is throwing a massive mental frat party, realizing his silver-tongued yapping worked flawlessly. Now that he has the ultimate assassin guild wrapped around his finger, his future progression is basically set on easy mode. But then Johan drops one final bombshell regarding the third boss, Lexer. Turns out this dude is an absolute menace. Johan warns that Lexer does not play games. There will be no polite warnings or dialogue before he swings. Every strike will be lethal from the jump. Han immediately clocks that Lexer has to be a rogue or assassin type, which the old man verifies, revealing that Lexer actually runs the infamous Black Floral faction. Han physically stops dead in his tracks at that name drop. Throwing up a hand, he tells Johan to pause for a sec. Swiping open his system interface, he notices 2 cosmic constellations have already locked in their avatars. But honestly, he gives zero flips about their identities. If those cosmic entities want all the smoke, they are welcome to pull up. With his own sister sitting comfortably as the 7th constellation and the Shadow Guild in his back pocket, he is untouchable. Suddenly, his phone gets absolutely nuked with text from C, leaving him confused about why she is spamming him. He assumes she made it back to the apartment, but the vibe feels completely off. Did she somehow catch wind of the 1st and 2nd constellations making their move? Nope, Sia instantly shuts that theory down. This situation is next level urgent. She just crossed paths with her bestie. Flashback to the meetup when her friend finally pulled up. Sia hyped her up with a massive greeting. Heesong flashed a warm smile, asking if she had been standing there forever. Right as they try to catch up, some random creep tries to slide in from behind and snag her digits, though Heesong hits him with a polite, icy rejection. It gives her the absolute ick when dudes swear she is their soulmate despite never speaking a single word to her before. She knows deep down they are just simping for her aesthetics, and frankly, it makes her sick to her stomach. Sia, however, totally gets it. She does not blame anyone for being down bad at first sight. From her perspective, Heesong is just super guarded around guys. Blushing hard, Heesong quickly mumbles a defensive denial, swearing she isn't afraid. Sia flashes back to their Academy Wars era, where everyone labeled her friend a literal ice queen, but honestly, the guarded attitude makes total sense. Curious about her current grind, Sia presses for details. Swearing her to secrecy, Heesong finally drops the whole truth. And by the time she finishes venting, she is literally glowing, convinced she just made a massive W decision. She is super thankful. Sia just let her vent without cutting in. The girls hug it out with Sia, demanding a text as soon as she gets back safe. Fast forward, Sia recalls forcing Heesong to swear on her life that she would not leak a single detail of their chat to another living soul. Now alone, her brain starts completely spiraling as she panics over her next move. She realizes her brother is the only one who needs to hear this tea immediately. Back in the present, Han is racking his brain wondering what hyper-secret intel his sister was desperate to spill. He remembers her dragging him to a local gaming cafe just to whisper cryptically but dodging the eavesdropping crowd. She literally speedwalked them back to their apartment for maximum privacy. Sliding her a glass of water, he listens to her groan about running on empty. Catching her breath, she starts breaking it down, claiming this is strictly exclusive info, and she never expected to stumble onto this level of classified data. Sia drops a massive bombshell. The entire world assumes the absolute evil is doomed to fight the constellations completely solo. Plot twist, there's actually an exclusive class designed specifically to back him up. And her day one bestie literally just bagged a quest to become his right-hand servant. They call her the absolute necromancer. Hearing this, a light bulb goes off in Han's head. This intel is an absolute game changer. Still, he starts sweating bullets. Heesong is playing with fire by leaking top-secret system info, and he's not even sure he should be eavesdropping on this. Sia waves off his panic. She and Heesong are basically platonic soulmates, and she firmly believes her own brother needs to be in the loop. Cue the ultimate panic attack. Since Han is literally the freaking absolute evil, he totally freezes sweating buckets while trying to figure out if she's onto him. Spoiler alert, she already knew. She was just waiting for him to drop the mask himself, because honestly, he wasn't exactly being subtle. I mean, the guy vanished off the face of the earth for 20 solid years to grind in some nightmare dimension. Wherever he walks, nightmare monsters literally spawn out of the shadows. Add in his god-tier strength and a completely maxed-out chaotic alignment. The second the system broadcasted the birth of the absolute evil, his stats went strictly to the moon, and to top it off, that exact moment triggered her awakening as the seventh constellation. Playfully smacking his arm, she essentially calls him a moron, stating you'd have to be completely blind not to connect those massive dots. She totally understands why he kept his mouth shut, but yeah, it still stings a bit. Caught red-handed, Han just swallows his pride. Cue the world's most awkward backpedal. He scratches his head, confessing he always knew his genius sister would crack the code eventually. She just rolls her eyes, mentally roasting him for looking like a total clown trying to play it cool. Getting serious, she swears her lips are sealed. Si-song has zero clue about his dark alter ego, and she hasn't breathed a word about her own constellation status either. Dropping the hammer, she gives him a grim reality check. If either of their true identities leak, it is an instant, unrecoverable game over. Han nods, feeling the gravity of it all. Meanwhile, Sia decides it's high time they actually bring Si-song into the inner circle. This whole conversation is a massive win for Han. The narrative just flipped. He doesn't actually have to go to war against the gods completely alone. Now he just needs a battle plan. Fast forward to the next morning, up on Lepnia Mountain, his sister's words are still ringing in his head. This mystery girl is barely 19, already playing around with dark magic, a total academy dropout, and currently sitting pretty at level 14. Sia even hooked him up with a disguise mask, which is a lifesaver since he's currently public enemy #1 for both the Empire and the Union. He's got to stay completely off the radar. His mind keeps circling back to this teenage edgelord. Could she actually be that same masked kid he bumped into earlier? But the math isn't mathing. Rufendal is a level 50 powerhouse, a level 14 scrub commanding him. Unless she's rocking some wildly overpowered hidden class, it makes zero sense. He brushes the theory off as pure cap. Later on, he finally links up with Sia and her mysterious bestie deep inside the overgrown jungle. Si-song locks eyes with him, and time literally stops. The recognition hits them both like a truck. She just stands there, completely paralyzed. Her jaw drops and she squeaks out Big Bro Han, practically facepalms, grumbling that Big Bro is a terrible title for the guy who literally saved her life, but he lets it slide. Her face flushes tomato red the second he calls out her gender, especially since she was using a completely fake, gritty voice during their last encounter. Waving her hands in massive panic, she stammers that she only faked the deep voice to match the whole edgy, hardcore necromancer aesthetic. Now she just wants the ground to swallow her whole. Sia's jaw drops, seeing them interact. Han just casually shrugs it off, claiming the universe just pushed them together. For Si-song, this is blowing her mind, total Destiny vibes. Sia had hyped up her brother as someone heavily tied to the absolute evil. The gears start turning in her head. Wait, is he the big bad boss? She turns to Sia for answers, but Han completely steals the show, dropping the ultimate mic drop by introducing himself as the absolute evil. Not letting him have all the fun, Sia instantly drops her own nuke, revealing their siblings, and oh by the way, she's the seventh constellation. Si-song's brain practically short-circuits. She's stuck buffering for a solid 10 seconds before absolutely losing her mind, screeching at her best friend for holding out on the biggest lore drop of the century. She is completely spiraling, demanding to know why she's getting hit with all this insanity today. Si immediately switches to damage control, apologizing profusely. She explains she had to respect her brother's ultra-secret double life first. The only reason the vault is opening now is because Si-song is basically family. Then reality crashes down. This legendary dark god is her best friend's older brother. Cue the massive internal panic. She immediately starts fussing over her hair, wishing she didn't dress like a total scrub today. CA groans, utterly exasperated that her friend is having a fashion crisis in the middle of a lore reveal. Si-song literally starts bawling frantically, swearing to Han that she's usually way cooler than this. Han just nods along mentally, recalling Sia hyping up her friend's looks. But looking at this crying mess, all he sees is a dramatic teenager. Flipping the switch to business mode, Han cuts the chatter. He zeroes in on the real issue, that shiny new quest she got to serve him. Sniffling, she nods and passes over an old weathered scroll, revealing it's a legendary artifact passed down by her master. He unrolls the parchment, realizing it's a cryptic map. But the second his eyes scan the details, his entire demeanor shifts. He is completely shook. Flashback to his hellish boot camp, right in the middle of surviving those lethal, bone-crushing drills. His old master randomly ordered him to seek out this exact region. Turns out the crazy old geezer wasn't just rambling, he was dropping major plot hints. Han stares dead at the parchment, the puzzle pieces finally snapping together. Every single landmark, every hidden route on this paper, perfectly mirrors the cryptic coordinates his master drilled into his head. One look is all it takes. This isn't just a random mission, it's directly linked to his dark destiny. and it practically has heaven-shattering ghost art power-up written all over it. But the dead giveaway, that unmistakable crest etched right into the corner. Zero room for doubt. That is the legendary heaven-shattering ghost art insignia, the infamous Black Flame. His master drilled it into his skull that this brand would become his entire existence. It is not just a symbol, it is his absolute identity, and he is painfully aware that this showing up here is no random glitch in the Matrix. It clicks. There absolutely have to be other gamers out there grinding triple S tier missions linked straight to the absolute evil. It is pure logic. Soloing a constellation is basically suicide. Plus, any vassal of the absolute evil would get instantly vaporized in a head-to-head clash. While he is busy playing four-dimensional chess in his mind, Song shatters the silence, asking what is brewing in that head of his. He just tosses the parchment back to her with a casual shrug. The puzzle pieces finally fit. He has literally morphed into the absolute evil itself, but standing around will not get them anywhere. When she questions their next destination, he brings up some intel he caught from Sia. Apparently Song is still hard stuck at level 14. Top priority. They desperately need to power level her right now. Fast forward a few days. Sia absolutely nukes a massive black bear, roasting the beast to a crisp with a blinding flash of lightning. Song just watches completely starstruck, practically worshipping her best friend's insane firepower. Meanwhile, in the background, Rufendal gets the level up notification. He honestly cannot even remember the last time his stats spiked like this. Han catches him spacing out and demands to know why he is slacking. The guy violently jolts back to reality, immediately dipping his head in submission. He scrambles to scoop up the dropped gear like an obedient puppy. Snatching up the glowing blue gems, he offers them to Han, staring at the guy like he is a walking deity. Han throws the dude a bone and lets it slide. Inwardly, though, Rufendal is screaming at his own pathetic downfall, degraded to a literal loot-fetching NPC. Yet even his shattered ego cannot ignore the facts. Han's kit is insanely broken. Massive heals, crazy buffs, insane EXP share, and maxed out drop rates. The whole package. Sickeningly enough, Rufendal is actually starting to enjoy this zero-effort lifestyle, before mentally slapping himself out of it. Come on, have some pride. Over on the other side, Han checks in on Song's current rank. She proudly announces she just broke through to level 19, signaling them to keep pushing. Han stares at her, analyzing the fact that she is a top-tier necromancer, rocking a secret class built specifically to back up the absolute evil. Breaking the silence, Sia asks if the girl has been soloing mobs this whole time. Her face turns beet red as she confesses she has. Apparently, her skill control is utter garbage. Han just watches her awkward fidgeting and smirks. She plays the clumsy, helpless rookie card, perfectly complaining about her bad combat mechanics, but he sees right through the act. She is masking an absolutely terrifying potential. With a flick of her wrist, a massive horde of skeletons rips through the soil. He instantly clocks that her bone warriors are vastly superior to the fragile garbage average necromancer's spawn. To her, they look adorable, leading Han to realize that dark magic users genuinely view their creepy minions like cute little pets, a concept that gives him maids or red flags. But the real kicker here is the insane cap on her summon limit. The sheer volume of troops and her raw mana output completely eclipse any standard dark mage. It is not even a competition. Given his current reality, he has to play it incredibly safe to avoid triggering the Empire's radar. The High Council might be tied up dealing with their own mess right now, but having a few wildcard players in his back pocket could save him if things go south. Meanwhile, she points her finger, sending her skeletal death squad charging straight at another grizzly. The undead swarm shreds the beast into ribbons without a drop of hesitation. It is becoming crystal clear that Song is evolving into the ultimate queen on his chessboard, at least for now. As the girls celebrate the flawless victory, Han connects the dots. Her active quest is a perfect match with his own. They are both diving into the exact same ancient ruins. The catch: his mission was handed down by his absolute psycho of a master, meaning the difficulty spike is guaranteed to be a living hell. Just the thought of that crazy old man sends a block of ice sliding down his spine. Heaven only knows what apocalyptic wipeout he would face trying to solo a dungeon of that caliber. Taking a step back, he is beyond thankful she accepted the party invite. Finally, his notoriously cursed RNG luck is actually doing him a favor. Without warning, she completely blindsides him with a massive, goofy tackle hug, screaming at the top of her lungs. She just cracked level 20. Rufendal cracks up, joking that Han probably thought a boss monster was going for his throat. Han just stands there totally frozen, entirely unprepared for this hyperactive side of her. She rambles on about how he practically rocketed her ex-bar, overflowing with aggressive gratitude. He is glad it worked out, but violently peels her off his chest. He warns her that if his counterattack reflexes had kicked in, she would be planted headfirst in the dirt. Pivoting back to his captive, he snaps his fingers at his designated pet, demanding to know why the pacing has stopped. Rufendal violently twitches. and instantly shifts into overdrive, vacuuming up the remaining drops. With the level 20 milestone crushed, Han declares it is time to advance the main storyline. The coordinates point straight to the frozen peaks of the Cargonis Mountains in Lunia. He maps it out for his sister and Si-Song since their aggro is currently wiped. They are clear to abuse the Empire's fast travel gates. Their job is to scout ahead and farm some basic intel. But since he and Rufendal are basically walking red names with maxed out chaotic karma, they are stuck taking the shady back alley portals run by the Underground Alliance. The girls give a thumbs up and vanish, leaving Rufendal sweating bullets questioning out loud if their extreme negative rep is going to get them instantly obliterated. Han shoots him a deadpan look, admitting they are totally walking into a death trap, but what other option is there? They cannot just camp here forever. Sure, booking a commercial airship or a blimp would save them some serious cash, but they do not have the luxury of wasting time on a slow ride. With who knows what kind of nightmare fuel waiting out on the open road, eating the ridiculous cost of a warp portal is literally his only safe play. The official Alliance gates might save you some cash, but they are incredibly scarce, leaving him with practically zero options. Hitting that max chaotic status basically gets you blacklisted from the network. The Alliance holds an iron grip over nearly every single travel hub, and those corporate overlords absolutely thrive on gatekeeping. Over at the checkpoint, a female staffer aggressively taps her supervisor's shoulder, warning him to check the monitors. Annoyed, the boss demands to know the problem, only to freeze when she reports a pair of max chaotics pulling up. He immediately shoots up from his chair, orders her backstage, and flashes a predatory grin, hyped that some heavy hitters just walked into his territory. Meet Captain Ib, the big shot running this Alliance gateway. Meanwhile, Rufendal is mentally begging for zero drama, though Han remains completely chill, knowing the strict no-combat zone rules keep them untouchable. Ib swaggers right up to their faces, announcing that this specific ride drops them straight into Lunia's Cargonis Mountains, so they better be ready to empty their pockets. But the second he spots their glowing red status, his eyebrows shoot into the stratosphere. Squinting, he immediately recognizes the infamous blue-haired rogue Rufendal, naturally assuming the guy tagging along is just some low-level loot mule. Sticking flawlessly to Han's master plan, Rufendal dials up the arrogant jerk persona, loudly bragging about dragging his pack mule out here just to carry his gear. They orchestrated this entire fake dynamic before hitting the road, forcing Rufendal to play the role of the toxic veteran bossing his minion around. Ib lets out a condescending snicker, silently mocking the legendary rogue for bringing such an overwhelmingly pathetic sidekick. In the manager's arrogant eyes, Han radiates absolute scrub energy. Rufendal fights to control his facial expressions, viciously snapping that the quality of his personal lapdog is none of the gatekeeper's damn business. Unfazed, Ib casually shrugs, pointing out that standard tourist rates absolutely do not cover max chaotics. The toll is a staggering 13 million gold per head. Rufendal practically chokes on his own spit at that insane figure, screaming that this absolute scam is literally daylight robbery. Flashing a toxic smirk, the captain dares them to walk away if their wallets are too light. He sarcastically suggests taking the budget-friendly Imperial gates before mocking them, because outlaws like them are permanently shadow-banned from those. Ib totally relishes the power trip, watching Rufendal grind his teeth in pure rage, while feeling entirely convinced he has the duo backed into a corner. The rogue violently hisses, demanding to know if the manager feels any shame, demanding 30 million gold, like it is spare change for the subway. Locking his greedy gaze onto Han, Ib starts plotting how to squeeze even more cash out of their desperate situation. While Rufendal keeps up the loud bickering, a stealthy notification suddenly pings Han's interface. Glancing down, he realizes the gate manager just slid into his direct messages, initiating a completely untraceable private conversation. Ib assumes this beaten-down newbie is totally exhausted from playing the victim. Typing away, the corrupt manager offers a golden ticket to freedom, provided the kid follows his exact instructions to the letter. A wicked grin creeps across his face. This plays out flawlessly according to Han's real agenda. Mentally, our protagonist is laughing hysterically, hyped that this corporate clown walked blindly into his psychological trap. On the outside, though, Han delivers an Oscar-worthy performance, projecting pure desperation as he types back that he would sell his soul to escape this humiliating servitude. Cutting away from the drama, Hee-Song and Sia successfully touch down in the freezing Cargonis Mountains. Scanning the new environment, she mentally praises the absolute lightning speed of teleportation technology. Sia shoots her a massive sunshine-filled smile, in agreement. But anxiety quickly creeps back into Hee-Song's mind, her thoughts totally consumed by whether their overpowered friend is actually safe. It is common knowledge that shady gate operators absolutely love bankrupting rogue players, and rumors constantly circulate about these corrupt brokers, literally backstabbing paying customers the second they turn around. Sia effortlessly dismisses the panic confidently, declaring that their guy would just shatter the bones of anyone foolish enough to try crossing him. Hee-Song instantly nods, realizing that is 100% accurate, As she debates whether treating him like an annoying boomer is a mistake, tears of sheer panic start pooling in her eyes, whining that staring at the minimap feels like reading ancient hieroglyphics. Laughing at her absolute lack of navigation skills, Sia tells her to relax, because she has the entire pathway memorized. Jumping back to the checkpoint, Han runs a quick visual scan on the corrupt manager, estimating his stats barely scrape level 40. For a high-ranking official in a massive powerhouse guild like Ellen, that power level is beyond garbage. The sole reason this guy secured such a premium desk job comes down to pure nepotism, thanks to his aunt holding a cozy seat on the executive board. This dude has literally played life on easy mode since day one. Not once did he ever grind or bleed for his rank within the guild. Elite titles were basically spoon-fed to him, and effortless promotions rained from the sky. Blinded by his silver spoon privilege, he actually tricked himself into believing he earned this power through raw talent. Staring at this delusional trust fund, baby Han realizes just how pathetically gullible he is. Watching the guy devour his fake sob story hook, line, and sinker, our main character leans into the deception, knowing full well the manager sees him as a brainless pawn, destined to be a permanent loser. Scoffing in his mind at the sheer predictability of this low-tier villain, Han allows a micro-smirk to flash across his face before discreetly leaning toward his partner, quietly murmuring that their resident corporate clown is currently shooting over a top-secret proposal to pull off a ruthless double-cross. Rufendal's eyes widen in genuine shock, but the boss sharply orders him to keep the charade going until they step through the portal. Warning him to maintain his arrogant persona, the blue-haired rogue loudly demands his minion hand over 6 million gold, which Han nervously pretends to surrender. Barking aggressively, Rufendal rips into his lackey for moving like a turtle, despite his own heart currently beating out of his chest in pure panic. But their Oscar-worthy acting pays off massively, securing them a direct flight across the map, finally dropping them deep into the northern Cargones Mountains, right past the official safety barriers. Han catches the captain and his goon squad, trailing their every move. Out of nowhere, the guy barks an order demanding his crew unleash a brutal beatdown on Rufendal. Whispering a quick heads up for Rufendal to brace for impact, Han triggers his skill. He is banking on his buddy to sell the ultimate fake-out of pure rage and shock, while Rufendal is practically saying his prayers. Spoiler alert, the attack deals absolutely zero damage. Han lands a savage haymaker square on his target, but his broken skill completely nullifies the impact. Rufendal is totally panicking on the inside, but he manages to pull off an Oscar-worthy performance of pure fury, launching a fierce counterhook right back. Playing his part perfectly, Han acts like he is absolutely done, playing the obedient lapdog, and the two launch into a completely staged all-out brawl. While they are busy throwing hands, the captain commands his squad to hit them with a dispel magic, so Rufendal cannot pull any vanishing axe. His lackeys cast the spell and instantly dogpile the guy, jumping him from all sides. Han just chills on the sidelines, secretly cracking up at the absolute absurdity of 5 grown men jumping one single target. Slithering right behind Han, the captain smirks. In his twisted mind, since he already coughed up 6 million gold to Rufendal. Just moments ago, the guy is basically a walking vault, making him the perfect target. Starving to snatch his loot back, the captain draws his blade and rushes Rufendal, blind with greed. Dead set on the idea that this max chaotic player is about to explode into a massive loot drop. He just hopes Han will not drop dead from a single swing once he is done carving him up. Too bad Han completely flips the script, turning around with a wicked smirk before absolutely clocking him in the jaw. The captain practically pops his eyes out in pure disbelief. Barely avoiding a lethal blow, he leaps backward by a hair. Completely staggered, his mind is racing, trying to figure out how on earth a simple punch carried that kind of monstrous kinetic energy. He starts second-guessing, wondering if Han is secretly a hidden brawler class. But wait, he realizes Han's stamina bar is barely flinching, totally unlike a close combat build. Plus, there is literally zero sign of any debuff alerts flashing. His brain instantly jumps to the conclusion that Han must have min-maxed his stats, dumping absolutely everything into pure agility, rather than raw attack power. It is the only logic his gaming brain can process. Meanwhile, Han pulls up his system panel, only to discover he never even intended to nerf his own damage output like that. It was a complete accident. Ibe, however, will not shut up constantly trash-talking and calling him a pathetic insect. Unfazed, Han just stares dead at him with ice in his veins, asking what the hell he is even yapping about, when Ibe is the one who initiated the ambush. Off to the side, Rufendal is actively clearing the floor with the rest of the mob casually tossing one of the defeated players, right at the captain's feet, like a sack of potatoes, leaving the guy utterly paralyzed. At this point, the captain's brain practically blue screens. Panic sets in as he realizes his intel was absolute garbage, considering Rufendal's physical stats are completely broken. His surviving goons start shrieking that they got completely played, begging to fall back before it is too late. Flashing a downright demonic grin, Rufendal ruthlessly claps the remaining enemies with a series of devastating strikes, Even he is tripping over how effortlessly he just solo wiped an entire squad without breaking a single sweat. Real talk, he knows deep down, it is all thanks to Han, granting him those god-tier buffs. The wave of gratitude hits him so hard, he genuinely feels like he could spend eternity serving as Han's personal butler without dropping a single complaint. Catching his breath, he sees Han still having a blast toying with the doomed captain. Pausing for a quick second, Rufendal questions why on earth his boss is letting IB breathe. Han casually shrugs it off, explaining that snapping IB's neck right now means kissing all the juicy loot goodbye, especially since his own luck stat is currently hard stuck at a completely miserable -99. Off to the side, eBay is doing crazy mental gymnastics, desperately trying to decode what these two monsters are cooking up. Stepping up to the plate, Rufendal drops a terrifying, bloodthirsty glare that instantly forces eBay into total submission. Han orders his right-hand man to milk the captive for absolutely every single coin to his name while he stands guard, following orders like a loyal machine. Rufendal invades eBay's personal space, coldly asking if his pathetic life is genuinely only worth a measly 6 million. Mentally, Rufendal is hyping himself up, realizing this is his ultimate moment to showcase his true value to Han. Ibe completely breaks down, voice-shattering as ugly tears flood down his cheeks. He frantically begs for his life, bumping the offer to 7 million, and rapidly skyrockets the number in pure panic until he is shrieking out a massive 100 million gold. Yet Han stands there, looking completely bored. He subtly cues Rufendal to squeeze the guy for no less than 130 million. Eager to look like an absolute unit in front of his boss, Rufendal flares up a bone-chilling aura, lecturing IB that putting a price tag on backstabbing is going to cost him a premium, especially to cover the serious emotional damage they had to endure. He drops the final ultimatum at 130 million, framing it as a totally reasonable settlement fee. Shaking like a leaf in a hurricane, eBay violently nods, promising to wire the entire 130 million right away as long as they let him step into the official safe zone first. Rufendal practically laughs in his face, mocking the captain for being completely oblivious to the fatal reality of his current situation. That one savage reality check completely crushes eBay's remaining hope. Tossing over the cash, he pathetically tries to make a run for it. Han just tilts his head silently, judging the miserable dash for survival. Sprinting away, the captain is already plotting his massive revenge arc, swearing to make them pay for this ultimate humiliation the second he hits safety. Unfortunately for him, Han knows exactly how to handle a filthy snake. As far as the duo is concerned, letting him walk away without lethal consequences is simply out of the question. Han makes the final call to delete his character right then and there. Launching forward like a totally unhinged predator, Rufendal screams out that he is stepping up as the agent of karma today. While the pathetic captain cries for a mercy that is never coming, Rufendal secretly wishes the guy has enough health points to survive just one hit, so things stay somewhat entertaining. Ultimately, though, he completely vibes with Han's ruthless leadership style. He ends up obliterating the captain with one single, devastating strike, feeling slightly bummed out that the fun ended way too fast. As the defeated Ibe metaphorically cries over his dropped inventory scattering across the floor, an absolutely glowing Rufendal sweeps through, vacuuming up every single piece of loot in sight. The desperate captain literally tries to buy back a highly specific drop for a staggering 1 billion gold, but our guy is completely unbothered. Feeling that this mysterious item carries some serious weight, he processes the massive bribe only to coldly reject it without a second thought, leaving the shattered captain to rot in absolute stunned silence. The guy is screaming, demanding to know if Rufendal even grasps the sheer power in his hands. But Rufendal, he could not care less. His only goal is dumping this entire haul, straight at the feet of his absolute idol. He drops the loot right in front of Han, casually dropping the bomb that the captain was desperate enough to offer a cool 1 billion gold, just to snatch back a single item. Han lazily sifts through the glowing drops, but the second his gaze locks onto that specific artifact, his brain straight up flatlines in shock. Both Han and Rufendal crowd around the mysterious pouch they just bagged, squinting hard. Rufendal's face twists into absolute confusion, clearly clueless about what the heck is sitting in front of them. Han, on the flip side, is getting super weird vibes. This gear belongs to the second phase. Stuff top-tier players would literally go bankrupt for yet looking at it. It is serving major disappointment. He rips the bag open. The system immediately pings with the loot drop, revealing one steel gauntlet, a single taming ring, and a thick stack of 500 million gold. But even pooling all this together, the math is not mathing to a billion. Han wonders if there is some black market glitch, or hidden stats at play, but quickly shakes it off. Not his problem. Pivoting back to Rufendal, he drops the most casual bombshell offer ever, handing over 3 million gold if the guy agrees to become his personal minion. Rufendal acts like the heavens just parted for him, swearing his eternal ride-or-die loyalty with maximum dramatic flair. Smirking, Han tells his new lackey to kick back in Runia, and power level. The whole zone belongs to him now. Smash cut to Mount Runia, where Sia's eyes light up as she spots a familiar silhouette approaching. Her brother is back. Han nods in approval, relieved the whole squad survived without a scratch. Se-song chimes in, hyping up Sia's flawless raid-leading skills. When Han presses them for any sketchy local intel, Se-song spills the tea. The village NPCs are absolutely terrified of an insanely overpowered phantom beast roaming the sector. It already one-shot a legendary hunter NPC, and a full squad of level 50 players got completely deleted trying to clear its questline. Han's eyebrows pull together. Zero leaks about this raid boss have dropped on Olympus Mania or the hidden web forums. Se-song shoots him this wide-eyed, hopeful look, basically begging him to solo the beast. Flash forward 3 days. Han, Sia, and Se-song are trekking through the brutal terrain of Carginus Mountain when they get ambushed by a feral mob. Mid-combat, Se-song completely pops off with her necromancy, hitting a solid level 23. Sia, chilling at level 33 now, glances at her brother and admits his party buffs are broken beyond belief. She totally gets why casuals avoid this peak like the plague. The survival rate is absolute trash. Han nods low-key, admitting the difficulty spike is way steeper than he calculated, but gives the girls massive props for not folding. As dark energy swirls and Se-song revives the mangled beast into her undead army, Han gives her a side-eye, asking if spamming that summon skill is going to bankrupt her mana bar. She literally waves the concern away, bragging about her massive mana pool, and suddenly reveals an entire battalion of shadow warriors hiding in the mist. Their synergy is off the charts. Han scans the terrifying sea of over 200 undead, and whispers that she is an absolute menace. Out of nowhere, Se-song stops dead and announces they hit the drop point. A colossal stone wall blocks out the sun, completely cutting off the trail. Han squints at the dead end, roasting her mini-map navigation skills. Not even breaking a sweat, Se-song smirks and insists the coordinates are dead on. Sia stares up at the vertical nightmare, asking if they seriously have to free climb this thing. Han floats the idea of aerial magic, but Sia shuts it down. The whole zone is heavily anti-air. While they stand there, cranking their necks upward, Se-song points a single finger at the summit. Initially, Han is just looking at empty clouds, but then the shadows shift, revealing the colossal silhouette of Keria, the undisputed apex predator ruling over Carginus Mountain. This flying tank mutated its strength and brainpower by gorging on glowing loot drops. And somewhere along the line, the giant bird figured out players are basically walking treasure chests, sparking an obsession with hunting humans. Han throws out an arm, ordering the squad to stay put. Suddenly, Keria screeches, but it straight up sounds like a clucking chicken. The goofy noise triggers a light bulb moment in Han's head about a recent loot drop. Just as his fingers brush his inventory, a massive shadow blots out the sun, and razor-sharp talons rip him off the earth. Sia and Se-song scream his name in absolute panic. Suspended hundreds of feet in the air, Han locks eyes with the beast and catches this unbelievably cocky, mocking glint in its gaze. That flips a switch. Nobody makes a fool out of him, especially not an overgrown pigeon. He immediately charges up his most devastating brawler skill. The system violently pings, wiping out 50% of the boss's health bar. The eagle shrieks and releases him, but Han completely defies gravity, locking his hands around its massive claw. The monster thrashes in agony. Vaulting right onto Kiria's back, Han confidently announces he will let the beast live, but only if it signs a lifetime contract as his minion. Without missing a beat, he winds up a punch using that cursed steel gauntlet, the one built to multiply pain receptors, and delivers a bone-crushing blow. The system interface flashes red, 80% damage inflicted. Down in the dirt, the girls watch the aerial smackdown in total shock. Out of nowhere, a glowing prompt appears in Han's vision, suggesting the Ring of the Tamer. He slides the band onto his finger. The artifact's ultra-rare single-use taming mechanic immediately activates a feature usually hard-locked for dedicated beastmasters. The system instantly calculates his maxed-out intelligence stats, supercharging the success rate. Kiria's aggression drops to 0. Now all he has to do is slap a name on this boss to finalize the soulbind. Casually swiping through his updated pet menu, Han smirks and mutters that beast taming is honestly a walk in the park. Seong arches an eyebrow, totally skeptical. He straight up asks if Han is secretly hiding some rare beast tamer class. Han just shoots him a deadpan look and shakes his head no. It is all thanks to the crazy loot he bagged recently. Seong flashes a smug smirk, totally roasting him for being hard carried by his inventory instead of raw talent. Suddenly, the holographic interface flashes with the stats of the creature, an S-rank beast. But there is a huge catch. This thing literally eats monster cores and pure gold, making it a flying feathered money pit. Han freezes doing the mental math on whether he actually wants to go broke. But then again, the stat buffs from an S-rank beast fusion are insanely overpowered. Letting out a heavy sigh, he whips out a fat pouch of shiny coins. Instantly, the eyes of the creature glow with pure greed. Han connects the dots right then and there. This bird is not just highly intelligent, it has been playing dumb this entire time just to hustle him. Leaning in, Han makes a devilish deal, promising the creature absolute endless riches if it bends the knee. A blinding light flashes as the system chimes in, sealing the master and pet contract for good. A wicked grin spreads across the face of Han as he officially dubs his new companion Coco. Standing nearby, Song watches in pure awe, completely mind-blown by the ultimate flex. Sia, however, is not buying the hype. She crosses her arms, questioning the point of this whole pay-to-win strategy. But before she can complain anymore, a massive gust of wind launches them straight into the clouds on the back of the giant bird. The sheer neck-snapping speed leaves both Sia and Seong absolutely speechless as they stare down at the tiny world below. Unfazed, Han pulls up his digital map, muttering that the hidden entrance should be right on top of them. Staring dead at a massive wall of rock, Sia wonders out loud if they need to literally crash into the cliffside to unlock the path. Han shrugs casually, confessing that his mining stats are completely non-existent. Plus, the zone has a super annoying anti-flight barrier. Seong chimes in with a brutal reality check, noting that rival guilds already bashed their heads against the bottom of the cliff, only to get slapped with a fat rejected warning. Brace yourselves, Han commands. Without a second thought, he orders Coco to dive bomb directly toward the jagged stone. His absolute madman of a strategy, use the giant bird as a springboard and launch his own body straight at the cliff face. The very second, his boots slam against the sheer drop, he punches his bare fist right into the solid rock. Instantly glowing holographic alerts explode across his vision. Reacting to the chaotic dark aura of his heaven-shattering ghost art, a blazing red text box materializes with a brutal update. Access to the gate to the Cliff of Time is currently locked. But right below that rejection, a single glowing requirement pops up. 5 minutes. That is all he has to slaughter 200 monsters from Kargnos Mountain. Our boy stands dead on the precipice, panic threatening to swallow him whole. Fail to deliver those 200 bodies before the clock runs out, and this entire ridge collapses into the abyss. Hidden deep underground sits a literal glass cage, the only thing keeping the ultimate nightmare, the absolute necromancer, from breaking loose. He shoots a glance at Si-Song before scanning the massive sea of rotting corpses swarming below them. He needs a head count, asking if they have hit that magic number of 200. Si-Song barely blinks. 286 dead on, she replies, her voice completely devoid of emotion. Whatever 286, they are all going into the grinder anyway, he fires back. But she immediately shuts him down hard. She claims those walking corpses are her actual kids. He locks eyes with her, completely baffled, demanding to know how she could possibly view them like that. Is she literally having conversations with ghosts? Her hardened exterior melts for a second as she whispers that they are begging not to be discarded. Seeing her waver throws him off. This girl does not do feelings or tears, but right now her voice is fracturing. A memory instantly clicks in his head, echoing her mentor's warning that the two of them are already sprinting down the exact same dark path. He drops that harsh reality on her, declaring that she is literally built to rule over armies and bow to absolutely no one. This right here, it is just the tutorial phase. If they choke now, every single thing they have grinded for turns to ash. She gets it, she really does. But the idea of personally sending her summons to the slaughterhouse is ripping her apart. And let's be real, no matter how ridiculously overpowered she is, farming another 200 beasts on such short notice is literally impossible. Her entire soul is screaming out against it, an instinctive revulsion she cannot even put into words. Suddenly, Sia shatters the heavy silence, screaming for her brother. Han's brain goes into overdrive, questioning if her crazy broken class has permanently glitched her empathy toward the dead. Going soft is totally off-brand for her, which means something seriously messed up is brewing beneath the surface. Sia doubles down brutally, reminding them they have zero backup plans. Han spins to face Si-Song, dropping the ultimate ultimatum. Either she pulls the trigger and rides with him, or she taps out and walks her own lonely road. Time practically freezes as she stands completely still, eventually giving a slow, heavy nod. She is locking in with him. Claiming her true title, Marianne the Absolute Necromancer, she unleashes her incantation. The ritual ignites instantly, ripping 200 of her minions into the void as tribute. Perched on top of Coco's colossal, unmoving frame, she shakes violently as the endless ceremony drains her. The atmosphere literally distorts thick with a toxic, decaying magic that makes it impossible to breathe. Right in front of her, the monsters she birthed crumble into pitch-black ash. Every single disintegration feels like a chunk of her own soul getting ripped out. The system interface flashes, displaying the 200 body count needed to clear the baseline, but her actual stats are completely off the charts. Just a few steps away, Han can physically sense the suffocating pressure threatening to crush her. He curses under his breath, wondering if this brutal backlash is just part of the package deal for her tier. Acting purely on instinct, he throws out a basic recovery spell. If he holds back now, she is definitely going to pass out from the intense mana drain. Refusing the help, she powers through the agony, gritting her teeth and insisting she needs to tank this herself. A sudden visceral snap hits her core right, as her legs give out entirely. She manages to stay conscious, stumbling wildly as her body wages war between the massive power boost and the devastating emotional loss. Han and Sia sprint toward her, pure terror written all over them. For the first time, both of them are completely clueless on how to fix this. 2 solid decades of grinding. The hellish training arcs, that brutal showdown with the Sky Devil, every single agonizing defeat and quiet victory, it was all a build-up to this exact second. Olympus was rigged from day one, an absolute trap. Yet backing down never even crossed Sisong's mind. Han's brain is working in overdrive. Sure, Olympus acts like a twisted video game, and he knows damn well he can ace this level. But what waits on the other side? Total mystery. He glances at Sia, checking if she is ready to lock in as his support. She gives a solid nod, swearing that she has tracked his entire journey and isn't backing out now. Next up is Sisong, who instantly commits. He finally shoots a look at Coco, earning a low, rumbling grunt of approval from the beast. Without hesitating, Han tosses a tiny item straight to Coco, ordering him to scarf it down. That single snack, easily worth a staggering 8 million gold. The massive creature's eyes practically glow with hype as he devours the treat. Right on cue, the iconic system notification rings out. Bingo! Han just unlocked the official rights to claim Kelt's legendary legacy. A portal leading straight into the trial zone instantly materializes. The interface drops a prompt asking if he is ready to dive in. Staring into the void and thirsting for whatever crazy loot waits inside, he hits accept. The AI locks in his decision, broadcasting that Kelt's master plan is now officially underway. Miles away from the battlefield, a stressed-out suit paces in a silent management office, aggressively barking into his phone to run damage control. Whoever is on the line, though, completely unbothered by his excuses. They hit him with a brutal reality check. Stop acting so damn greedy. One more reckless move and he is entirely on his own. Young Gun, the head of representation, is posted up nearby with her arms folded tight, glaring daggers until he promises to never pull a stunt like that again. Slamming the phone down, he collapses into his seat, cursing under his breath about how badly he just got played. Staring at the ceiling, his mind races to decode the mess. His thoughts drift straight to Lupin Doll and that scrawny, fragile kid who was shadowing their main target. Who could have ever predicted that weakling would actually get his hands on the Ramtadian? Suddenly, the whole disaster does not seem like a total loss after all. Honestly, it is basically a massive golden ticket. Anyone foolish enough to cross his path is about to find out they poked the wrong bear. That bounty he dropped, completely viral. Over 700 hunters are already swarming the board. Suddenly, his screen lights up again. Byung-gun squints at the caller ID. Seriously, another ring. He answers, demanding the latest update. The guy on the line immediately brings up the massive Rampadian hit posted online. Byung-gun claims full credit, but then the guy on the other end drops an absolute nuke of a reveal. They literally just awakened as the very first constellation. The guild manager stops dead in his tracks, demanding to know if this is a joke. Dead serious. The caller admits he totally lucked out and is completely geared up to back Byung-gun in his ultimate payback arc. A sudden system ping rings out and bam, Han gets violently dragged into this insane breathing dimension that morphs by the second. He quickly realizes his squad is totally gone. A brief flash of panic creeps in, but he brutally suppresses it. Focus up. Out of nowhere, this grotesque 3-legged raven dive bombs him, dripping with this heavy toxic energy. Han doesn't even flinch. A single lethal swing obliterates the beast like it is nothing. The interface flashes immediately target eradicated, adding a whopping 90,000 gold to his stash. His XP gauge explodes, maxing out instantly. Yet Han just stands there, completely weirded out. That monster went down way too fast. The sheer ease of it violently rips him back to a dark memory, those hellish bone-breaking training arcs with his former mentor back in Reina. During those days, every single blade swing felt like signing his own death warrant. He can still hear that cold voice slicing right through his agony, demanding he endure, conquer, and dominate everything in his path. Looking back, those savage drills were never about simply staying alive. They were literally forging him into the ultimate villain, the pure physical manifestation of absolute darkness. A sudden notification snaps him back to reality. 0 step-up points needed to bypass this area, meaning his grind just hit easy mode. He instantly skyrockets to level 50. Meanwhile, Seiya is absolutely popping off, slaughtering mobs like a total pro. Pure electricity fractures the ground with every blast, vaporizing hordes of creeps. Alerts spam her vision, winged beasts wiped out, body count rising. Right in the heat of battle, her spellcasting mutates, upgrading into something far deadlier and slicker. Cut to the dark abyss of Kelt, where heavy armored paladins crawl out of the shadows. Sesong unleashes her inner demon, her aura turning pitch black, as she ruthlessly executes them with 0 hesitation. The game registers every single takedown. Then something insanely creepy happens. The very concept of death bows to her will. Dark tendrils erupt from the soil, violently ripping the corpses back to their feet. Rusted undead gladiators claw out of the dirt, dropping to one knee, while collectively chanting their absolute devotion to her under the legendary title Marion Lim. A heartbeat later, they mutate, evolving past basic zombies into elite Phantom Templars. Saesong is low-key stunned by the gravity of that alias. It radiates an ancient heavy flex that totally caught her off guard. Off in his own zone, Coco is casually turning gigantic toxic worms into absolute mush. Right in the middle of the slaughter, he loots this bizarre glowing sapphire. Zero hesitation, he just straight up swallows the thing. The interface lights up, validating that his unique genetic sequence is finally fully optimized. The entire dungeon layout warps once more. In a single flash, the whole squad gets yanked back into the same room. Han does a quick visual check, everyone is completely spotless. Seiya and Saesong immediately start bragging about their massive XP gains. Han realizes his own attributes have skyrocketed as well. Suddenly, the floor aggressively shakes. A massive shockwave tears through the zone, while an announcement echoes the primary gates of Kelt are finally unlocked. Han yells at the crew to keep their guard up, but before they can even strategize, an insanely familiar chilling voice cuts through the silence. A glitchy, glowing avatar spawns right in front of them, taking the exact form of his deceased mentor. Even as fake pixels, the dude's aura is suffocatingly intense. The Phantom smirks, hyping up Han's massive power-up, while taking total credit, claiming those nightmare training arcs built this absolute beast. He even thanks his former student for acting as a battery for the Sky Devil's Legion, basically dropping a massive spoiler that Han is destined to subjugate the entire world map. Another pop-up flashes, refreshing the absolute evil man objective. Suddenly, all the puzzle pieces lock into place inside Han's mind. His cursed reputation, that insane triple S-tier mission, the psychological torture his master disguised as lessons, it was all one gigantic rigged chess game, a master plan perfectly designed to nuke the current empire and usher in an era fully controlled by the Sky Devil's tyranny. The ghost's final dialogue is super vague, mumbling some cryptic lore about a pure soul who will eventually recognize Han's authority and hand over the ultimate power of necromancy. Han doesn't even get a second to analyze the massive lore drop before the digital ghost fractures into dust and fades out. Bam! Another prompt hits the screen. The legacy of Kelt is officially conquered. Turns out, having the absolute necromancer in the party was the hidden key to clearing the zone. Now that the chaos is over, Saesong just shrugs, casually mentioning how ridiculously fast that entire raid felt. Han totally backs her up. Seiya, meanwhile, is just smirking. Like, obviously she knows her insane support carried Saesong to a tier she'd never touch as a solo player. Han stays quiet, but he is fully aware of the reality. If he had solo-queued this dungeon, he'd be totally hard-stuck. Suddenly, the loot screen descends. The interface drops an insane care package, 2 rare progression tokens, 20 free attribute nodes, and 1 ultra-rare crimson gem. Han stares intensely at the crimson rock, fully aware that this thing goes for an absolutely cracked amount of cash on the auction house. Financial struggles, literally deleted from his life. Seiya bags one as well, and she instantly starts screaming from the hype. Han just keeps his poker face, let her enjoy the massive W. Saesong immediately starts inspecting the loot stats. She double-checks the drop, confirming it's the real deal. Then she casually flexes her own haul, a rank-up token, and a straight-up busted ability dubbed Boundless Mana. This bad boy chops necromancy requirements down by 50%. Even crazier, maxing it out means free summons, 0 cost, infinite horde. Seiya hypes her up, pitching a massive feast to celebrate the W. Han, meanwhile, is mentally doing the math and sweating the terrifying reality of it. Picture Saesong pulling up with an endless mob of zombies running on a literal 0 mana budget. Absolute nightmare fuel. Right in the middle of their chat, Bok Bok randomly starts radiating light. The interface pings loud and clear. Homeboy just triggered a rank up. Evolution finishes slapping him with the new title, Korea. His level skyrockets to 73, while his class tier blasts from a measly 5 all the way to 55. Han literally blue screens for a second, caught halfway between absolute shock and deep respect. Guess that was his slice of the dungeon experience pie. Snapping back to his own progression, Han pulls up his interface. He zeroes in on the only upgradable stat, destruction. He completely dumps his resources into it. The interface goes absolutely wild, declaring destruction has evolved into its ultimate phase, instantly unlocking a crazy double ruin effect. The sheer power scaling hits him like a truck. This upgrade is an absolute game changer. Meanwhile, trouble is already brewing a few zones away. A sweaty squad of bounty hunters is hot on their heels. They sweep every single pixel of the zone, but the tracks literally evaporate. The cliffside gives them absolutely nothing. 0 footprints, 0 clues. That is until Kang Museok, the Crimson Gladiator himself, pushes to the front to take over the op. He knows his targets are lurking nearby, but before his crew can even move, the solid rock wall completely detonates. A massive mutant eagle bursts from the rubble, carrying 3 passengers. Back with Han, his interface suddenly spams an alert. His Heavenbreaker hard arts just straight up evolved into the true Heavenbreaker hard arts. The power rush practically electrocuted him. His agility spiked by 30%, while all his cooldowns got chopped in half. On top of that, his health and mana pools massively overflowed. His absolute evil rating bumped up to 3, his charisma locked in at 10, and basically every core stat jumped nearly 10 whole points. Sia, casually leaning over to peek at his screen, flashed a smirk that screamed half curious, half mind-blown. Sisong glared at him with that, "Are you already broken tier" expression. Han didn't even try to deny it. That prompted Sisong to ask if anyone in the game had ever cracked the 90 stat wall. Out of absolutely nowhere, Sia casually drops the nuke that she's already sitting past 100 in specific categories. The flex hit Han like a physical blow. Yeah, she was definitely built different. But before anyone could process that insane reveal, the interface hijacked the moment. Celt Legacy officially cleared. A glowing pop-up sealed the victory. True Heavenbreaker Hard Arts, successfully unlocked for all absolute evil users. But then, the developer tossed in a nasty troll mechanic 32 seconds to evacuate or aggressive hunt mode triggers. They didn't waste a single millisecond. They flawlessly parkoured down the jagged cliff face. The literal second their boots touched dirt, Sia exhaled a massive breath. Quest in the bag. But the piece lasted all of 2 seconds. Sia's eyes suddenly went cold, her finger jabbing toward the ridge. Fully geared players were already posted up waiting for them. These weren't random mobs, they were bounty hunters. That massive Remtadian hit was still active, and this squad was dead set on cashing Han in. Sweaty, relentless, and completely hyper-focused on claiming his head. Before the squad could even draw weapons, a massive shadow plummeted from the sky. Kang Museok, his superhero landing right next to Bok Bok, kicked up a massive dust cloud. Sia nervously muttered about falling back, but Kang instantly cut her off, locking onto Han with a death glare. His voice was ice cold. Game over, chase finished. He name-dropped Han as Remtadian, like it was a completely undisputed fact. Han immediately dropped his tone, ordering Luna and Marion to stay fully out of aggro range. Kang radiated pure arrogance with every single step, literally levitating toward them, a totally busted perk from his Constellation backer. Suddenly, Han's interface flashed, red scheme triggered. The background hunters kept their mouths shut, fully aware of the massive level gap. Kang didn't even bother turning off his public tags. His gamer tag glowed aggressively, red, Flamed Gladiator Shinsung Executive Board Member, First Tier Constellation. Pure flames wrapped around his avatar like a living, breathing shield. Let's be real, this wasn't even about the bounty cash anymore. This was a completely calculated PR stunt to aggressively flex Shinsung's guild dominance. Then, totally out of left field, Bok Bok blitzed him. The pet's claws shredded across Kang's chest, actually knocking the high-tier constellation backward. Bok Bok skidded toward the deadly drop, but firmly dug his claws in, completely unfazed. The entire peanut gallery of hunters literally blue-screened. Did a random summon just physically stagger a top-tier player? Kang cursed under his breath, noticeably tilted by the disrespect. Han instantly capitalized on the moment. He openly trash-talked Kang, loudly calling him a completely carried pay-to-win fraud, riding on overpowered items. That completely snapped Kang's ego. The whole take him alive objective evaporated. He aggressively swore to turn the entire map to ash. His pay-to-win armor instantly reacted, igniting a massive firewall around his body. Sia subtly signaled to tag in, but Han aggressively vetoed the idea. If the server's 7th constellation outed her true identity right here, their entire squad would be instantly doxxed. Keeping a low profile was completely non-negotiable. Going fully feral, Kang rushed blindly forward. He tore straight through his own inferno, throwing a heavy strike that literally shattered the sound barrier. Han's interface quietly pinged 50% damage mitigation successfully triggered. It didn't even matter, the impact still folded him like a massive freight train. Kang's ridiculous loadout immediately went to work. His chestplate fractured, but it instantly popped auto shields and massive burst healing cooldowns. One of the background NPCs muttered something about the sheer cost of that broken build. Han, though, unfazed. He aggressively closed the gap, perfectly reading that Kang was 100% gear and 0% actual mechanics. Heavily tilted, Kang desperately popped his ultimate rampaging flame. The skill instantly nuked the entire arena. Like an out-of-control wildfire, Han's HP bar aggressively melted, but the dude flat-out refused to stagger. Without looking away, he flashed a deadly hand signal straight to Bok Bok. Actually, scratch that. It was finally time to drop the nickname and use his true awakened name. Han locked eyes with the beast, ordering him to hold the line and protect the squad. The massive creature gave a crisp nod, eyes locked in absolute focus. Up above the heavens practically bled neon red as infernos swallowed the clouds. We're way past a simple turf war now. This was a straight-up apocalyptic blockbuster. Cut to somewhere miles away, Gu Chansung strolled into a ridiculously sleek executive suite, answering a sudden page from the big boss. The director looked absolutely furious, his face scrunched up in pure rage. He immediately started screaming about being treated like dead weight, just because he took a temporary offline break. Slamming his fist down, he demanded an absolute lockdown on the press. Zero leaks, 0 stream clips, even though deep down he knew the internet was already feasting on leaked footage. Glaring out the floor-to-ceiling glass, he spiraled into this super toxic monologue. He ranted about how busted their reality was, a rigged system where absolute scrubs got carried, while genuine top-tier monsters got shoved in the dirt. He preached about a looming massive server wipe, an ultimate collapse designed to completely purge the weak. According to him, this current generation would be the absolute last to survive on pathetic, delusional hope. Panning back to the chaos, Han was mounted on the beast's massive back. For a split second, a genuine look of respect flashed across his usually cold eyes. Sia and Si-Song were completely off the board for this round. The beast stayed dead, silent muscles coiled and ready to vanguard the assault. Memories of the previous bloodbath surged through his monstrous mind. His massive wings literally burning enemy strikes, raining down like hellfire, yet he never once backed down. And right when Han's icy tones sliced through the sheer mayhem, dropping absolute masterclass tactics, the creature made a silent vow. He wasn't just going to act as a meat shield anymore. He was going to become the ultimate loyal weapon. Fast forward, and the duo finally crashes back at the Sky Devil base camp. A squad of rookies instantly swarms the beast to heal his battle scars, while Han just slumps into his executive chair, radiating absolute boss energy. The door kicks open, and Seo Jian drops a massive brick-sized stack of paperwork right on his desk. Han squints at the towering documents, visibly annoyed, and dryly asks if this is their grand master plan to avoid freezing to death this coming season. Jian just hits him with a deadpan single nod. Because in this zone, winter isn't just chilly weather, it is an absolute meat grinder that will delete you if you lack prep. Heavy-duty thermals and core heating systems are literally mandatory for survival. Factor in the massive roster of around 800 members currently crashing under the Sky Devil banner, and the calculated upkeep hits a mind-numbing minimum of 8 million gold. Han's brow shoots straight up. These guys have been grinding out survival strats way before he even stepped foot in this timeline, which is wild considering. Lore-wise, he's basically just a background NPC hard-coded into their reality. Give them a week, and they will probably be sketching out full-blown rebel architecture and managing hedge funds like absolute Wall Street veterans. Jian casually drops the flex that they are currently sitting on a massive 4 billion gold stash, fully sponsored by Johan and the Veil Syndicate. Han swallows hard, telling her to withdraw whatever the guild requires, though giving up that loot physically hurts his gamer soul. So, when she requests a staggering 1.4 billion, he just forces a tight, pained nod. Pivoting to leave, she throws a cheeky remark over her shoulder, promising to broadcast to the whole server just how much of a sugar daddy he is being. Unsurprisingly, the faction's loyalty stats practically skyrocket after that flex. Han is completely unbothered though. He just dinged level 50, and with the high-tier farming zones fully unlocked, the real money glitch is about to begin. Meanwhile, cutting to a massive Gothic stone fortress miles away, we find the crimson-haired powerhouse Johan chilling in the shadows. Lexor, holding the title of Third Elder, steps into the room moments later. Johan never wastes time with pointless check-ins, so Lexor is noticeably intrigued by the sudden summon. He immediately wagers they are discussing the Absolute One. Johan nods, dropping the bombshell that he is reading massive, sinister, spectral energy radiating off the target, a pure aura dense enough to easily crown him as the next official master. Lexor totally backs this up. His personal code literally forbids him from bowing to anyone with lower stats than him. He hits Johan with a reality check, stating he grinded for years to construct the Black Floral Group from scratch, the exact same way Johan cultivated the Murder Veil Syndicate. But honestly, even right now, the supposed boss of Black Floral isn't even in the same tier as Johan. And that massive power gap seriously gets under Lexor's skin. Johan tilts his head flat out, asking if the Third Elder genuinely believes he has the DPS to solo the Master. Lexor snaps back without missing a beat, claiming he's already calculated the boss's absolute skill ceiling. On top of that, the rest of the Elder Council shares that exact toxic impatience. They refuse to just sit in the lobby and wait. Johan quickly shuts that down, warning that the Master isn't the same washed-up old guard anymore. The guy respawned with lethal precision, heavily buffed and dangerous, enough to casually clash with the Elders, relying purely on his base stats, 0 equipment needed. The dude is anything but fragile, and the real kicker? He serves as their exclusive bridge for importing off-map resources. Lexor grumbles, acknowledging the boss did guarantee a massive shipment of winter armor, but he quickly reminds Johan that Murder Veil still holds the capital city hostage. Johan corrects him on the spot that loot wasn't hijacked, it was willingly transferred. The Master is funneling every single coin strictly into leveling up the Sky Devil infrastructure. In the Master's eyes, Johan is nothing but a singular pawn on a massive 4-dimensional chessboard. Johan advises Lexor to just chill and hold his cooldowns, promising a fresh wave of war funds is dropping soon. And once that clears, they will finally launch their raid on the main target. Meanwhile, Han and Sia have been stalking the server updates. Turns out the Olympus Nova Guild just launched a psycho beta test to artificially print monsters, fusing redstone and blackstone materials. If this glitch works, natural dungeon grinding becomes completely dead content. The only flaw, a brutal 30% RNG success rate. Sia is totally grossed out, calling the whole Frankenstein lab experiment absolute madness, not to mention it burns through an ungodly amount of cash. Han just hits her with a completely indifferent shrug. She pokes fun at him, wondering how he can stay so incredibly frosty right after literally nuking the entire first continent. Isn't he even slightly tilted that the Nova Squad is currently hogging all the algorithm clout? He just drops a casual head pat on her. The hype train means absolutely zero to him. He genuinely couldn't care less about branding his infamous alias, the absolute evil, across the server. Knowing his future raid bosses can likely spawn synthetic beasts too, getting salty over some fake news hype is a massive waste of stamina. He sharply advises her to keep her aggro radius low. If she's craving social interaction, she needs to go network with the other top-tier constellations. Instead of constantly playing his shadow, sticking to his side like glue just ruins his stealth stat, and branching out to build her own solo build wouldn't be the worst idea. She literally cancels that suggestion on the spot. His party buffs are way too overpowered to abandon, so she is staying permanently strapped to his side. Han just sighs and lets the subject drop. Han's brain is literally stuck on Nova's endgame. Sure, pulling this off sits at a measly 30% chance, but if the Sky Devils secure just one win, they are officially done eating scraps. A bit later, she wants the drop on their next destination. He drops the coordinates instantly: sky, flowing river. It's an absolute monster playground. We are talking floppy-eared elephants, hippos blasting literal cannon fire, and mutant two-headed gators. Nova practically slapped a VIP-only lock on the whole zone just to hoard their redstone flow, which is exactly why Zeta is tagging along. As the sixth elder, the dude is a walking cheat code for massive AoE nukes, especially after mastering True Heaven Shackle and Ghost Art. Meanwhile, Han is totally overmasking his absolute evil persona. The squad finally hits the Riverside Warp Gate. Sisong, Sia, and Rufendal are already holding it down. Zeta is lurking in the background, fully cloaked. Han instantly starts splitting the crew into duos. He drops a quick reality check on Sia. She isn't just some random player, she is a literal constellation. Han and Rufendal take the front line, with Sisong taking the second wave. Sia, she stays put until he gives the green light. Suddenly, a Nova lookout catches their shadows. At first, the guy assumes it's Max Chaotic Squad, but then the red flags start popping up. Dark energy, zero gear, and a massive freaking eagle shadowing them from above. The horror sets in. It's the Ramtadian. The scout absolutely loses his mind and pings HQ. The response: let the Ramtadian walk. The dude's jaw literally hits the dirt. As Han struts up, the Nova grunts immediately part like the Red Sea. They mumble some warnings about staying within limits before practically rolling out the red carpet to the portal. Han throws them a highly skeptical look. Rufendal whispers that these guys definitely know how busted his power level is. Han nods. That clip of him absolutely humiliating Kang definitely went viral. Honestly, Sia and Sisong are probably going to glide through on his VIP status alone. It tracks. Kang is a massive Nova director, meaning every single grunt on their payroll has watched that beatdown. Honestly, that realization deeply annoys Han. Not far away, a Nova foot soldier whispers to his boss about HQ's actual game plan. The response is icy keep up appearances, and take them out in the dark. The whole zone feels suspiciously dead. Han instantly calculates that their forces are stretched thin here, so he orders Rufendal to stick to him like glue, making any quick regrouping way easier. Rufendal gives a sharp nod, but the trap is already set. Kang and his hit squad are actively stalking them, watching from the dead spots in the shadows. The second they see an opening, Kang goes for the kill. But Han, he totally read the script. Without breaking a sweat, he orders Rufendal to pop a shield and tank the hit head-on, flashing a cocky smirk. He jokes that taking the damage might even score Rufendal a few free buffs. The ambush slams into them, but Han remains completely unbothered. He pivots into combat mode, like he's been craving this fight all day. He barks at Rufendal to max out his shield magic, promising to stack his own crazy buffs on top of it. Across the battlefield, Kang is literally screaming at his squad to lock in their combo chains and spam stun effects. Rufendal's massive energy wall goes up right on cue, but he grumbles that the AoE is way too wide for a solo block. Han just hits him with an icy nod. He's stepping in to absorb the pressure. Cutting through the chaos, Sisong forces her way forward, hacking on the thick smoke, completely lost in the sudden war zone. Han immediately yells for her to fall back, calling the front line an absolute death trap. She freezes up, totally stuck in her tracks, then throws up a hand to stall the push. Honestly, this whole messy firefight feels ridiculously underwhelming compared to the epic clash she pictured. I mean, even that so-called fatal strike, the exact move that previously erased a literal constellation, doesn't even leave a dent in their armor. Spectating from the backlines, Nova's commander is basically losing his mind. He desperately tries to hype up his failing troops, screaming that anyone disrespecting Nova is going to get buried. Yeah, he never finishes that sentence. Coco drops from the sky, like a missile nailing him mid-rant, and aggressively shutting him up for good. Off in the cut, Sia is still crouched down, clutching her weapon and waiting for her moment. She whispers through the comms, begging for the green light to strike. Han immediately shuts it down. Timing is literally everything, and this ain't the window. When the battlefield dust finally starts settling, Han shifts his focus over to Sisong, making sure she's still breathing. She waves him off, totally hyping the fact that her HP bar hasn't moved a single inch, all thanks to his rapid-fire cover. But her jaw locks tight. The hiding phase is officially over. She wants to trade blows right alongside him on the front line. As the squad finally drops down from Coco's back, the Nova goons lock eyes with them. They are visibly sweating over the fact that Han's crew tanked their ultimate strike, without shedding a single drop of blood. Seeing those maxed out health bars triggers massive panic. But the Nova foot soldiers, they are coping hard. They start whispering that maybe Han's squad is exactly like Rufendal, just walking meat shields with absolutely zero damage output. One arrogant grunt actually steps up, demanding to shatter the tank first. The commander takes the bait instantly and greenlights the kill order. Han just shoots a sideways glance at Rufendal, double-checking that the camera is actually rolling. With a wall of 70 enemies stacked up ahead, Han casually reminds him to vacuum up any high-tier loot the second this absolute bloodbath kicks off. Enter Hatchet. This massive Nova meathead swaggers to the front and starts talking heavy trash. He genuinely tells them they are massively outgeared, hopelessly outnumbered, and should just forfeit their lives. He claims that if they beg for director Kang Museok's forgiveness right now, they might just avoid getting totally wiped from the server. Han is literally trying not to laugh. He instantly calls out the sheer delusion of their fake rules, absolutely roasting their wannabe landlord complex. Like these bozos didn't code this reality, they haven't mapped a single pixel of this zone, yet they walk around acting like they hold the deed to the entire game. He leaves them with one brutal reality check. Kang Museok threw the first punch, and he is absolutely going to bleed for it. Han's ice-cold composure completely shatters Hatchet's tough guy act. You can literally see the dude's ego crumbling as Han's oppressive aura spikes. Done playing games, our boy casually rips open the earth to call upon his undead legion. Dirt erupts everywhere while skeleton warriors drag themselves onto the battlefield. Backing him up, Sisong instantly pops her buffing spells, supercharging the entire skeleton crew. Before the dust even settles, Han unleashes his horde and violently calls out Nova's top dog to step up to the plate. Zero hesitation, zero mercy. Hatchet is busy overthinking, trying to strategize a way to isolate Han using health pots and medkits. But he never even clocks the blur heading his way. Han plants a bare knuckle straight through his ribcage. No blades, just absolute terrifying kinetic energy. The heavy hitter folds like a lawn chair. He hits the dirt with bugged-out eyes, his brain totally short-circuiting over how he just got one-tapped. Gazing down at the wreckage, Han practically scoffs at the joke. This clown was supposed to be a premium meat shield built to tank level 80 beasts without breaking a sweat. Yet a basic punch absolutely dusted him. Barely batting an eye, Han commands his shadow army to mop up the trash, leaving Nova's frontline scouts paralyzed with pure shock. Just one strike, their ultimate defense mechanism got completely deleted. Frantic murmurs about falling back instantly spread through the enemy squad. With the monstrous summon standing tall, absolute hysteria kicks in. But the Nova director delusionally chuckles at the thought of retreating, banking on the foolish assumption that our necromancer totally drained his mana bar on that insane flex and is running on empty. He completely misread Sisong's playbook, though. She isn't playing the long game. She's drowning them in an endless wave of bodies. The enemy scouts scream at the top of their lungs, begging their squad to snap out of it and push forward. But Han is merciless. He unleashes his Death Knights, ordering them to carve a bloody path straight through the vanguard, shooting a quick warning to Sisong to hold her ground and stay out of the crossfire. Giving a silent nod, she watches in awe as Han's entire vibe morphs. The atmosphere gets insanely heavy. A holographic system prompt pops off, blaring the activation of his ultimate buff, true heaven-shattering ghost art. His base stats absolutely skyrocket. Damage output and strike radius surge by 30%, mana consumption plummets, and his cooldowns get brutally chopped in half. That basic white slash move, it instantly evolves into the legendary true white slash. Without wasting a single breath, he goes in for the kill. His energy blade shreds through armored grunts like wet tissue paper. Absolute bedlam explodes on the battlefield, while the Nova boss shrieks at his heavy units to form a wall. It's a total slaughter. Half the squad gets wiped before the command even leaves his mouth. The interface chimes with a brutal notification: hero class eliminated. He bags 5 absolute evil points. A glowing subtext reveals these bad boys can literally delete negative or glitchy traits from his system. Our guy is mildly confused but tucks that info into his back pocket. Meanwhile, back at Nova Command, absolute pandemonium breaks out. Executives are losing their minds, because live drone footage of the massacre just leaked online. Their ultra-secret grinding spot is totally exposed, giving the entire internet a VIP pass to watch the mighty Nova Guild get completely dismantled. Their IT guys furiously try to nuke the live stream and wipe the digital footprint, but the PR nightmare is already irreversible. On the bloody turf, C-Song violently turns the reanimated corpses against their own buddies. The Nova shot caller watches in sheer horror as his slaughtered boys stand back up, mindlessly hacking away at their former teammates. His sanity shatters when C-Song's voice, chillingly calm, suggests he just lay down and embrace the inevitable end. Agonizing shrieks ring out as the remnants of Nova's army dissolve into nothing. Han systematically butchers the stragglers cold and mechanical. Another system ping hits. He just swiped a super rare redstone bundle that used to belong to the Blazing Horde. For the very first time, he's actually pulling god-tier loot. Curiosity getting the better of him, our protagonist cashes in a single absolute evil token to patch up one of those system bugs. His abysmal luck rating, which had been permanently stuck in the gutter, instantly snaps into the green. With his power levels now completely capped out, a wicked smirk creeps across his face. Rufus Dahl suddenly barks orders, hyping up the crew to scavenge every single dropped item and funnel it straight to Han. While Han ponders if he can exploit these points to juice up his other attributes, Rufus frantically flags him down. Things just got real, the boss wave is here, and we aren't talking regular mobs. The legendary Three Swords of Nova aggressively crash the party. One of these heavyweights zeroes in on Han, instantly clocks Ramtadian's gear, and issues a deadly ultimatum. Drop the weapons, submit to an interrogation, and they might just let him breathe. Wanting the quick rundown on these new threats, Han turns to his informant. Rufus doesn't hold back, spilling the brutal truth. Pacing on the left is Curdle, an unhinged max-level melee psycho who grinded his way to the top, using a completely broken hidden class. Sizing the dude up, Han scoffs and whispers that he totally looks like a lightweight. Hovering on the right is Assassin, a ridiculously agile blade dancer rocking another obscure skill tree. Holding the center is Rufin, an absolute brick wall of a defender. Knowing Dahl's weird fixation on barrier magic and impenetrable armor, Han low-key wonders if Rufin is the guy his buddy fanboys over in secret. The big tank drops the final warning. Beg for mercy, come quietly for questioning, and they might just spare him from total deletion. Han instantly calls Cap. The hostile vibe totally screams firing squad, so he just glares back in dead silence. Rufin growls that the timer is ticking before they jump him. Meanwhile, Han casually realizes this elite trio didn't even bother bringing a medic. Either a massive brain-dead move or pure unfiltered ego. Curdle blitzes forward like a mad dog, entirely convinced Han's lack of armor makes him an easy frag. Big mistake. Han brutally parries the lethal strike barehanded. The sheer panic washing over their faces is absolute cinema. Curdle barely has half a second to process that this alleged noob is packing godlike stats before Han caves his face in with a devastating right hook. The impact launches him backward. Rufus immediately clocks that the intel on Han was pure garbage. Curdle somehow survives the hit, a fact Han reluctantly admits. Proves they aren't completely helpless. Han orders Rufendal to make sure the stream stays live. Rufus, scrambling to recover, pivots to a desperate bribe, tossing out hunting privileges, wiping the bounty, and flexing a premium executive seat at Nova. Complete with a 100 million won annual salary, VIP clearance to their rafts and loot territories, an official draft, plus top-tier backing from the extraterrestrial elites. Han does not even blink before crushing the offer, absolutely roasting Nova's rigged monopoly. He drops a cold reality check. He did not come to play their corporate games, he came to torch the whole foundation. He flips the script right back at them, asking if they would be handing out VIP passes, if he was just some random low-level newbie. Spectators glued to the broadcast start spamming the chat, half of them roasting Nova for sweating so hard, while the rest try to decode Han's master plan. Han brushes the whole thing off as a tragic attempt at a buyout. Since the peace treaty just crashed and burned, the Nova squad calls time of death on the negotiation and swarms him. Han responds with true white slash, delivering a flawless blinding arc that cleaves Curdle straight down the middle. The assassin, knowing he will get absolutely folded in a head-to-head clash, pivots his strategy. He locks onto Sesong, assuming her undead-reliant necromancer build makes her fragile up close. He melts into the shadows, creeping in for a fast execution. But a split second before his blade connects, Johann materializes out of thin air, obliterating the rogue before he can even process it. The assassin fades out in utter shock, erased by a phantom presence he never even felt. The entire Nova unit turns to stone. Their elite-tier hitman is suddenly pavement decoration. Frantic whispers ripple through the ranks, leaking that the newcomer belongs to the Black Flora Syndicate. Bafflement curdles into dread, and straight-up panic erupts when a voice drops. The fact that the children of Murdervale have crashed the party. Just hearing the name of Murdervale's boss completely fries their sanity. Rufus stands paralyzed as his elite roster breaks down. Murder Whale, in the flesh. That legendary psycho has literally stayed off the grid until this exact second. How does he tie into a menace like Han? Before Rufus can even process the lore drop, Advent of Diva crashes down from above. Zeta touches down with a terrifying vow, promising absolute zero survival for anyone opposing his master. He dives headfirst into the slaughter, ignoring any need for Han's green light. Johann quickly begs pardon for acting out of turn, but Han just brushes it off. They eliminated the threat, which is the only thing that counts. Rufus, sweating bullets and fully redlining, pleads to restart negotiations. He confesses the 100 million package was a massive lowball, swearing to roll out the ultimate red carpet Nova can afford if Han just signs the dotted line. Han literally chuckles and lunges forward, zero interest in their pathetic leftovers. Rufus absorbs 4 blistering combos in a row, his face locked in a mask of total denial as his health bar zeroes out. Han snags a dropped bag, bulging with 200,000 gold, internally hyped over how insanely rich these Nova guys actually are. Rufendal scrambles to vacuum up the rest of the drops before any stream snipers arrive. Sesong questions if these two powerhouses run with Han. He verifies they are top-ranking Elders of the Sky Devil faction. Rufendal puffs his chest, bragging that he already hoovered up every single piece of loot, presenting the stash to Han like a king, demanding his boss never dirty his hands picking things up. Johann and Zeta stare at Rufendal like he is an absolute mythological icon for being that dedicated to the grind. Han is quietly trying to calculate exactly how much wealth Rufendal just bagged. Suddenly, an intense shout shatters the calm, screaming for Coco. The alarm rings out with deadly serious vibes, ordering everyone to eat dirt immediately. Rufendal and Sesong get the cue to launch into the sky. Johann and Zeta instantly shift into combat stances. Sesong demands to know what the hell is happening. Han admits he is flying blind, but something colossal is incoming. A pitch-black shadow swallows the entire zone. The interface blinks with a blood-curdling notification. A fresh objective just dropped Bossmaster Raid. The server announces the arrival of Absolute Evil, forcefully spawned because its dark aura merged with the twisted variables of this specific battleground. Right on cue, gargantuan raid bosses erupt from the earth. A freaky chimera sporting elongated rabbit ears, another anomaly built like a bizarre organic water cannon, and a massive tanky brute rocking twin snarling heads. A brand new raid window flashes on screen. Boss Monster Raid Han gazes up at their towering hitboxes, low-key impressed but also annoyed at the ridiculous scale. Zeta, scanning the enemy stats, drops a brutal reality check. This encounter might actually mop the floor with him and Johann, especially factoring in Han's current level caps. His tactical advice: pull back immediately. Johann, stressing over Han taking fatal damage, echoes Zeta's retreat call, but Han instantly vetoes the idea. He absolutely refuses to run. He asks if they seriously doubt his stats. Their dead silence speaks volumes. Then keep your eyes on me, he commands, shifting his stance. The global chat pings once more, verifying these titans were custom-generated to counter the Absolute Evil's entrance. Han connects the dots in a heartbeat. These are not standard dungeon spawns. They are highly specialized entities, hard-coded with variables that only his specific build can shatter. The heaven-shattering ghosts erupt in a violent shockwave as his internal aura syncs flawlessly with the Absolute Evil's terrifying frequency. As he marches forward, the towering beasts freeze completely, essentially paralyzed, pinned down by the suffocating gravity radiating from his body. Oozing main character energy, Han strolls directly into the kill zone. Zeta and Johann are left completely speechless. Their jaws practically hit the floor. A system chime rings out, boom, a secret fragment just locked into place. Thanks to the freaky nature of these beasts, his Absolute Evil aura is resonating flawlessly, giving him total control of the battlefield. These massive bosses are literally shaking in their boots, sensing their impending doom. Zeta, who already fanboyed hard over Han wrecking the Nova crew, is absolutely flabbergasted by this insane overnight power jump. Johann, trembling right down to his core, mutters that Han is basically a completely different beast now. Ding. Another alert flashes. He just smashed the secret requirements and snagged an ultra-rare cosmetic skin. A split second later, the heavy hitters just evaporate. Poof. Wiped out without throwing a single punch. Cut to the sleek high-rise boardroom at Nova Alien HQ. The vibes are completely atrocious. Their radars just picked up a massive power spike. Jung-hoon drops the bombshell that wildly chaotic rogue player just breached the sky-flowing river. Pressed for the juicy details, he confirms the dude is only level 50. Absolute chaos erupts among the corporate suits. Nova's iron grip monopoly just cracked. Not even their hand-picked golden children, the legendary Three Swords, could stall this absolute menace of a solo player. Said trio is currently standing there, looking completely defeated, stuttering out apologies. Surprisingly, the big bosses do not just roast them alive. Everyone in the room knows the truth. This guy's stats are just totally broken. However, the higher-ups absolutely rip into the intelligence team for dropping the ball. Had they sniffed out his god-tier potential from day one, Nova could have bought him out rather than watching their entire operation go up in flames. Fumbling that bag hurts bad. This loose cannon isn't just overpowered, he actively snaps the game's mechanics in half. Chilling at level 50 while holding the server hostage, he is officially main character status. Now, even global governments are sweating. Word on the street is the United States Justice Alliance is already lurking, scheming to turn him into their ultimate trump card. Nova's public PR spin: cancel him permanently. A glitch this chaotic has zero place in their perfectly manicured system. The threat level just skyrocketed since he started pulling a squad together. Reviewing the tape, Kang spots a horrifying trend. Everything connects to one spine-chilling reality. This guy is the literal incarnation of absolute evil. Kang swears every single move the kid makes fits the profile. Pivoting to his grandson Mu Shuayok, Kang pitches his grand master plan, a utopia where top tiers do not have to become cannon fodder to protect the server. They are going to paint him as the ultimate villain to the masses. Kang plans to manipulate the algorithm, forcing this smear campaign down everyone's throats. But off the record, they are playing chess. If this absolute unit can be leashed or bribed, Nova will snatch him up in a heartbeat. Raw power always has a price tag. Meanwhile, back in the trenches, Han is dropping bodies. He introduces a mutant elephant's face to his fists, his knuckles radiating pure lethal energy. Kang's villainous speech continues to echo back in the meeting. Before they slide a contract across the table, they need to break him. No matter how hyped he gets, he is still playing solo. Nova is going to teach him the hard way. A single raid boss, no matter how cracked, cannot tank an entire corporate empire. Completely unbothered, Han wraps up the bloodbath with one devastating haymaker. As he follows through, the robotic AI voice rings out. The two-headed chimera bites the dust. The massive titan collapses like a puppet with cut strings. That cleans up the vanguard. 3 elite targets deleted. The interface officially clears the dungeon and starts raining loot. The meta has completely shifted. Han takes a breather, admitting that was an absolute flawless victory. Flexing that villainous energy was 100% worth the gamble. A fresh loot box drops. 300,000 gold, a clean level up, and 0.3 points toward his dark stat. He squints at the screen, a bit skeptical if this is the only payout for flatlining the bosses. If that is the case, shouldn't there be some epic upgrade cores in the mix? Bang on cue, the game spits 3 pitch-black crystals straight into his stash. Han is totally shook. Johan and Zeta are practically screaming his name in hype. He whispers to himself, questioning if he is hallucinating. The AI pops up with the lore drop: out of all the cores in existence, the black ones are the ultimate flex. In the 2 centuries since Olympus launched, these bad boys have only dropped 3 times. The drop rate on this is astronomical. Han glares at the rocks, a tidal wave of flashbacks hitting him. As a wicked smirk spreads across his face, Johan whispers that their boss looks uncharacteristically hyped. Zeta wagers it is, because Han just styled on everyone without holding back. But Johan shakes his head. Nah, this energy hits different. Out of nowhere, Crashers arrive. The top dog of the Justice Alliance steps onto the scene, throwing out a slick greeting. While acting super relieved, he didn't miss the party. Stepping out from his shadow is Ellen, the big shot running Blueheart. She instantly kills the vibe, barking an order for the squad to freeze. Han's survival instincts kick in, stepping back as the captain pushes into his personal space. Utterly baffled by how this alien ghosted right behind him, the leader plants his feet, locking a dead serious stare straight onto our boy. Meanwhile, Saesong, Johan, and Zeta nervously shuffle to the side, while Johan reluctantly escorts the otherworldly guests closer. Johan awkwardly asks what the actual move is here. The new arrivals start dropping their names. Ellen steps up to the plate, flexing her title and rank. The top dog nods, confirming she is running with their squad. Ellen pivots directly to Han, demanding his undivided attention. Ellen drops the pitch. Blueheart wants him on their roster. The bait: a fat signing bonus and a base salary of 300 million won a year. Throw in some custom high-tier gear, VIP access to their private hunting grounds, exclusive black maps, and total guild protection, and it sounds like a dream deal. She wants his answer right then and there. But before he can speak, the Justice Alliance captain decides it is his turn to flex. He slides a counteroffer across the table: a 300 million won bonus, a massive 500 million won yearly payout, and a top-tier rare item set. Han just sits there, stone-faced, letting them talk. They try playing the fear card, warning him that a lone wolf simply cannot survive the cosmic alien threat without a massive shield over his head. Ellen twists the knife, hinting that ghosting Blueheart means getting blacklisted from every major trade network in Korea. Their grip on the market is absolute. Han hears them out, but inside, he is laughing. Who cares about their corporate monopoly? He has his own underground pipeline for flipping loot. Their little guild perks are honestly a joke to him. Just to prove a point, he spikes his aura. 3 cloaked monsters suddenly pop out of thin air, teeth bared. A split second later, they are completely shredded, and Han has already pocketed their drops. Glancing at his fresh haul, Han realizes 500 million won is straight-up pocket change. With his grind set, he can farm that kind of cash in his sleep. Ellen completely freezes, her confidence shattering. The raw, unfiltered power Han just flexed makes her guild's leaked footage look like a total joke. To him, their massive offers are pennies. Han shoots them a deadpan look and hard passes the deal. Shut down, Ellen forces a stiff, polite goodbye and starts to dip. But the Justice Alliance captain clears his throat to fix the record. Apparently, there is a massive misunderstanding. That 500 million salary, that wasn't in won. It was 500 million US dollars. Han actually blanks out for a second. Wait, did his ears just glitch? He totally assumed they were talking local currency. Suddenly, that number hits way differently. He looks over at Ellen to see if Blue Heart is matching that energy, but she awkwardly confirms her offer is strictly won. The Justice Executive tilts his head, practically wondering if they just overpaid for this guy. Either way, the wealth gap is actually insane. Blue Heart sent a mid-level director with a measly 300 million won. Meanwhile, Justice rolled up with their top brass and a $500 million check. The Justice head shoots Ellen a pitying look. He asks if she seriously tried to lowball a god-tier player like Han with a couple $100,000 in US cash. That is not just cheap, it is a straight-up slap in the face, and he hopes Han doesn't take offense to it. Backing off smoothly, he promises that Justice respects Han's solo run, but their door is always open whenever he is ready. Han gives a slight nod, admitting that if he ever sells out to a guild, Justice gets the very first call. Ellen is literally spiraling over the insane financial gap. She knew Justice was loaded, but this is straight-up cheat code money. Catching her spacing out, Han snaps her back to reality and asks what is on her mind. Flustered, she mumbles a quick apology. Making a weak excuse to leave, she finally heads out. Han lets her walk. As soon as she turns her back, absolute fury paints her face. Internally, she is raging. To her, Han is just an arrogant punk who desperately needs a reality check. Her system suddenly chimes, pinging her for a status report. She spits out that Han is exactly the toxic, overly confident solo player the rumors warned about. The boss on the other end just scoffs, agreeing that the kid is a massive headache. Killing the comms, Ellen figures the higher-ups are about to make Han's life miserable until he begs for an alliance. But right now, she has one strict objective. She needs to secure that mysterious pouch she brought up earlier. It is an absolute make-or-break item. Ellen confirms the order and clicks off. Meanwhile, her boss smirks, realizing Han just put a massive target on his own back. They have no clue what Han is plotting, but the board is currently stacked in their favor. If Ellen snags that pouch, the entire power dynamic flips. Cut back to Han, who is hyper-focused on his black stone, calculating exactly how to detonate its full potential. He needs a flashy way to announce this artifact to the world. Suddenly, his phone buzzes with a burner number. He answers and a familiar voice hits his ear. It is Song. Han instantly tenses up, considering he never even gave her his digits. Reading his mind, she gives a soft laugh and confirms her identity. She asks if he has a minute to spare. Turns out she is chilling with Seiya and begs him to drop by for a quick real-life hangout. Pushing open the cafe doors, Han instantly zeroes in on the two girls grabbing a booth together. Seiya immediately claims credit for this little blind date. She casually admits she leaked his number because they totally needed to vibe off-screen at least once. She playfully hypes up Song's crazy good looks and waits for Han to compliment her. When Han just glares at them in dead silence, Seiya awkwardly breaks the tension, asking why he is acting so moody. Han's patience snaps, his voice turning absolute ice. He coldly states he has zero interest in these little social hangouts. Frankly, he only dragged himself out of his room to deliver a massive reality check. The current meta is way too volatile right now. One wrong word in the real world, one tiny slip-up, and they could literally dox themselves to the wrong people. They need to stay paranoid. He drills it into their heads that one brain-dead mistake could trigger a massive real-world manhunt. He doesn't hold back. He demands they lock down their in-game aliases, scrub their real-life habits, and stop treating this like a game. Locking eyes with Song, his tone goes terrifyingly dark as he orders her to take her username to the grave. And whatever you do, keep her character class totally off the radar. Sung freezes up, so he hammers the point home again. She finally mumbles out a weak yes. Seiya is completely shook by his intense vibe, demanding to know why he is acting like it is the literal end of the world. Like zero bad things have even happened yet. He snaps right back, warning Seiya that she is going to face major fallout back at her own house if things go south. Shooting her an absolute death glare, he presses her, demanding to know whose genius idea it was to just leak his digits. Seiya stumbles over her words, making up some excuse about them being a team, but Han straight up interrupts her, rejecting that defense immediately. He doubles down on his threat, telling them not to mess around and definitely not to make a mistake. Dropping that bomb, he declares he has places to be. He just dips out of the coffee shop. Watching him go, Seiya whispers to herself, totally mind blown, questioning why anyone would even waste their time stalking them. She pivots to Si-sung, throwing up an awkward shrug and claiming Han is never usually this unhinged. Si-sung keeps her mouth shut, quietly obsessing over the incredibly weird vibe he gave off the absolute second they met. He just carried this unspoken rock-solid energy around him, wrapping her in this bizarre sense of total security. Whenever things got dicey, he was always there silently watching her back. That low-key badass energy was the exact reason she craved a real-life meetup, just to look him in the eye and say thank you. Suddenly, her brain flashes back to Seiya teasing her swearing. Han would literally drop dead from shock if he ever caught a glimpse of her off the screen. Now that joke just feels completely pathetic. Like, is he actually entirely blind to her visuals? That heavy thought camps out in her head way longer than it should. Meanwhile, inside the virtual world, Rufendal strolls over right in the middle of their raid. He drops a massive pile of loot right into Han's lap. Han just gives the kid a soft head pat, while Rufendal stubbornly refuses any kind of payout, claiming that just shadowing Han and soaking up his skills is the ultimate prize. Han just hits him with a subtle knowing grin, because if this kid realized Han was secretly hoarding literal black stones, the most insanely rare drops in existence, he would probably pass out cold. Suddenly, a random new icon catches Han's eye in his stash. It is a recording crystal, definitely something he snagged while looting Ellen's bag a minute ago. The interface flashes with a notification signaling that the locked media files are finally good to go. He starts swiping through the digital folders. His expression hardens into a scowl as the crystal projects hidden gate locations, secret farming spots, and straight-up illegal monopoly contracts, along with some extremely dirty money trails. As Han connects the digital dots, a massive light bulb goes off. This was Ellen's exact motive for trying to buy him out, dangling 1 billion won just to seize control of the portal system. The entire puzzle clicks right into place. Right on cue, Johan spawns in shouting for him. Han shoots him a look, and Johan immediately spills the tea about a top-secret gateway buried way up north in the Korganis mountain range, deep inside the Runia server, completely locked down by Ellen's Alliance faction. Apparently, the commander guarding it has been totally exploiting his power, bleeding the system dry to line his own pockets. Johan drops the bomb that the hit is already greenlit. The absolute second that target leaves the green zone, it is game over for him. But Han is just staring down at that crystal with a totally new master plan. This is not just random video evidence, it is god-tier blackmail. Played perfectly, this tiny rock could nuke the entire Alliance operation straight from the portal headquarters. Meanwhile, Byung-eun is looming over the community forums, speed-reading toxic threads, absolutely roasting Remtadian, laughing at how some random nobody thinks he can play Emperor just because he caught a lucky power buff. Byung-eun's face contorts into pure icy disgust. His eyes dart toward a giant screen as a massive news alert hijacks the broadcast. The true identity behind absolute evil is officially out in the wild. He hates to admit it, but Han's solo stats are genuinely cracked, like literal raid boss material. But even so, why on earth would he intentionally trigger Mosaic and basically turn the entire server against himself? In Byung-eun's mind, taking up the absolute evil title is the ultimate career suicide. He didn't just step on Mosaic's toes. He completely crossed Ellen's massive syndicate, and there is zero chance she is going to take that level of disrespect lying down. The moment her elite squads roll out, the rest of the server will swarm like locusts. Shoving his chair back violently, a dark shadow falls over Byung-eun's face. Raw DPS does not solve everything. Sooner or later, Han is going to need a ticket to another map, which means interacting with the gate network. Slap a ban on his portal access, and the guy is permanently soft-locked. Throw in an auction house blacklist from the guild, and he will be reduced to nothing but a penniless vagabond. Just as he calculates Han's downfall, a glowing notification hijacks the Olympus Mania trading hub. A brand new banner explodes on screen. A mythic tier black stone just dropped. Byung-eun squints hard at the monitor, his brain short-circuiting. If Han is actually clutching an artifact with that kind of drop rate, this entire server war is about to get infinitely bloodier and way more chaotic than anyone predicted. The rumor rips through the player base like a virus, injecting pure adrenaline into the chat logs. The legendary rock is officially in play. Data miners immediately track the IP straight back to the Korean realm. The global player base instantly loses its absolute mind, throwing out insane bets on its final bidding price. This drop is not just a casual patch note. It is a literal seismic event. Just the sheer existence of this item shatters the virtual economy and sends content creators into full panic mode. Media executives are screaming for live streams right now, vowing to secure exclusive coverage no matter how many millions it drains from the budget. Back in the Alliance leader's headquarters, you could cut the tension with a knife the second a scout drops the latest intel. The dude holding the Blackstone is refusing to sell. He shut them down cold for the pettiest reason ever, it turns out to be. Max Chaotic, the exact guy who just turned their world upside down, and he absolutely despises Nova. Hearing this, the boss's eyes instantly glaze over with pure fury. Having an unpredictable powerhouse hoarding the Blackstone completely derails their entire game plan. Meanwhile, Sia is quietly losing her mind, hate scrolling through a mountain of hit pieces, tearing her brother apart online. To her, this whole smear campaign makes zero sense. Every single post is just toxic lies and twisted facts. Seeing his reputation get completely nuked online pushes her boiling point over the edge. But our boy, he is chilling, swiping through the headlines, like it is just another Tuesday, because he predicted this exact outcome. Visibly trembling Sia, Roundhouse kicks a massive tree, sending leaves scattering everywhere. He just stares, telling her she is blowing her energy on nothing. Voice breaking from pure burnout, she snaps right back, threatening to sue every last trash reporter into the ground. Right beside her, Seong tightly grips her fists in total agreement. There is no way she can match the chill guy standing right here with the psycho villain the media is trying to paint. Han takes her defense in without saying a word, secretly questioning what he ever did to earn that kind of ride-or-die loyalty. Still, he pushes that thought aside, bigger fish to fry. Getting cancelled online was always part of the equation. Once Nova and Ellen slapped a target on his back, this massive media witch hunt became a guaranteed side effect. Honestly, the court of public opinion means absolutely nothing to him now. He is the one holding the Blackstone, and he is getting ready to auction this thing off to whoever drops the biggest bag. Regardless of the cash they flaunt, he is never just handing it over easily. Fast forward to auction day. Massive crowds pack themselves tightly into a rundown coliseum over in the Centennia region. Players waiting outside are practically foaming at the mouth with annoyance. Nova and Eileen strategically shut down every single warp gate in their territory, pulling a desperately cheap move to trap the Blackstone inside their borders. But Han, he is already 10 steps ahead. He teamed up with Searshan to leak the actual coordinates a mere 3 minutes before the event went live, totally neutralizing any chance of a last-second ambush. Flanked by Johann Zeta and Lexo, he mentally double-checks his master plan. Searshan's brainpower is carrying hard right now. The crowd is basically swallowing the most unhinged entry rules without uttering a single complaint. Nobody dares to risk a ban from this once-in-a-lifetime drop. The lockdown is absolute, with every single player getting stripped of their gear at the entrance. Only a bare-bones security squad patrols the inside operating under hardcore protocols, while a panel of neutral elders monitors the floor. Giant spiked wheels encircle the stage as a terrifying warning to anyone thinking about acting up. The guidelines are crystal clear: throw a single punch, and you face a lightning-fast, incredibly brutal execution. To add insult to injury, the names of blacklisted players are projected everywhere, basically trolling them in front of the whole server. Completely humiliated and raging, those guys are practically guaranteed to strike back. Once the final sweeps wrap up, the official guidelines echo loudly through the stadium speakers. The hype inside is absolutely vibrating. Thousands hold their breath as our main guy strides dead center, delivering a freezing but polite welcome. Giving a fake apology for the insane security, he drops the rules: pure gold bids only and absolutely no starting floor. The price goes exactly where the whales take it. Before the echo even fades, some random guy instantly screams out, 600 billion gold. The chat goes absolutely feral. Bids skyrocket to 700 billion, 750 billion, 800 billion, then slam right into 860 billion gold. The numbers are soaring like a runaway freight train, while Han silently keeps tally. 1 trillion, smoothly gliding into 2 trillion. It is genuinely crazy how one tiny rock is causing a complete server meltdown. But then the ultimate flex drops. Out of nowhere, someone casually bids 30 trillion gold, instantly paralyzing the entire room. The whale in question, Randall, an unimaginably wealthy boss who completely dominates the Faria region on the Middle East servers. His people literally never step out of their zone, which makes his sudden appearance and massive flex hit like a literal truck. Some other brave soul counters with 31 trillion, repeating the number like his life depends on it. Randall does not even flinch, casually cranking the stakes to an eye-watering 50 trillion gold. The guy is smirking like he already won. Observing from the sidelines, Searshan is dead set that this whole spectacle is wrapping up, right on the spot. Selling the first master item for that insane payout feels like a lock. However, Han refuses to drop the gavel. He aggressively pushes for higher numbers, his eyes piercing through the audience. Searshan squints, knowing this is the exact moment the shadow players should creep out of the woodwork. Out of nowhere, pure chaos detonates. Some completely unhinged dude starts screaming that absolute evil has arrived to wipe the floor, with everyone maniacally laughing while gripping an active explosive. Our boy whips around, immediately spotting the guy as one of Nova's pathetic pawns. The psycho yells that this bloodbath is a tribute to absolute evil, aggressively lobbing the bomb straight into the packed stands. Han suddenly flashes back to Searshan's intel. The pastor's entire playbook is built on mass hysteria. First, they tried to bottleneck the cross-server traffic by cursing the warp zones, but since that completely blew up in their faces, they pivoted to literal suicide bombings, desperate to spark a massive panic and frame the auction as a psycho cult massacre. It is honestly a pathetic strategy, and Han finally sees how insanely accurate their predictions were. As raw panic sweeps the arena, he instantly barks out a command to Johan. Johan literally glitches out of thin air. In a split second, he materializes right behind a thug, completely bodying the guy before he even realizes what hit him. The dude's terrifying aura cuts straight through the madness. Our main character is just standing there, absolutely shook, that these goons are playing right into Sierra's playbook, hitting every single desperate move she predicted, like absolute clockwork. Sure, their ambush hits its mark flawlessly, but let us be honest. Our squad saw this exact setup coming from a mile away. The warm-up is officially over. Now the actual bloodbath kicks into high gear.